back to the the FOKLZ podcast.
Oh my dear God. What is that? Welcome back to the Forder and Wackles podcast.
I gave a little bit of energy.
Sorry, mate. I just had to do it. Put you out of your comfort zone. Do you know what? I am fully out of my comfort zone. You've already noticed it. Go on. What is it?
I don't even know what that is.
I feel hurt. Right. So
My
those
skin
of you
fade,
that are listeners now and not watchers, because we are on all good podcast platforms now. We're on YouTube Music, we are on Amazon, we're on Apple, and we are on Spotify now. Look at that. Audio versions of FOKLZ. But for those of you that can't see me, probably for the best right now, I have had what's called, Reece, a French crop, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah. So, you know, all the French links between Arsenal. So I went, you know, that's the one I'm going to go with. Essentially, I'm trying to hide all of my receding hairline.
You're doing it because Gentlemates won the COD event last week and they are a French team. I respect it. I just say the little COD reference there. So yeah, I love it.
Oh my dear God. Any opportunity. Hang on.
Where's
Bingo.
There it is.
Call of Duty for Wackles. Yeah, I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to go with something different. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know about you. When I usually get like a different haircut, I'm the guy who's like, I really shouldn't have done that. And why is it every time you get a haircut, it always looks really good, like the day before you get a haircut?
Yeah.
Do you have that?
Yeah,
man. So yeah, just went in today. Thought I'm going to do it. I'm just going to change it up. So I really appreciate you calling it that. Yeah, cheers, mate. Real.
Yeah, I'm not one to speak. What easy, but like I look like I'm like my hair does not suit the times, the age that I am. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't get haircuts too long.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh well, to be fair, we've just started doing bookings. Like the barber I go to. Shout out to Isaac Walmsley, legend. Yeah, he usually just does drop-ins. He started doing little bookings now, so you can skip the queue on the hour every hour, and I love that. Just like main character syndrome, just walk straight past everyone, sit down in the chair. Oh, lovely. Hello to Silzinho. Hope you're well, mate. Thanks for tuning in. We have no agenda tonight. The only agenda is to kind of talk football, general stuff, you know. Should we start with just the pleasantries? How have you been? What have you been up to, mate, since we last talked?
So I have been okay. I've made some shorts, some videos, and then I made some more shorts. So that's about it, really. How's it going with you running a media enterprise over there?
Oh my God, mate! It has been a mad week. It has been a mad week. So, for those of you that don't know, Reece is referring to the Canon podcast. Do I call it dissolving? It's not dissolving. It's morphing. That's the one. The Canon podcast has morphed into the different Knock Plus. And yeah, I had a little bit of a say with the logos and the new kind of format that's coming in. I get the style format, I guess, and the changes of the thumbnails. So I'm doing all the thumbnails for the Canon podcast Plus now. Yeah, which is a bit of a different role for me to kind of be thrust into that. But anyone that has any problems with the logos, please send your messages to Alex Moneypenny, not me, because he chose the concepts. I just made them. And I tell you what, there are a hell of a lot. I made so many, it became a bit of an addictive thing. Most of them, this is a weird one. When we lost against Man United, the kind of creative side of me just came out, and I aggressively just made different Knock logos. Like, I don't think normal people do that. So maybe that says more about me than it does anything else. But yeah, that's where it came from anger, fueled by anger.
Passion and anger.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. If we lose, I don't want to do anything.
Oh,
but
really?
If we win, I've got like so much energy just to make stuff, make content, make videos. Oh, I love it. But when we lose, no.
Switch off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, usually I have to I think it was because I just needed to do something and take my mind off it.
Yeah.
So, and I was like sat here on my own for once, and like children running around and stuff. So I was like, you know what? Let's get on it. Let's just get some work done. It's quite therapeutic in the end. But there we go. There we go. So yeah, Canon Podcast Plus. Make sure you guys subscribe to that. What should we start with? Do we start with Chelsea?
I mean, we could start with Leeds, I guess. That would make, and then go to Chelsea.
Ooh.
We did.
Yeah.
We did play Leeds. I kind of think the Leeds game is kind of a bit more interesting as well. I know, like, the story of the Chelsea game was like cool, and like we'll talk about it. But I think the actual game itself, I thought the Leeds game was way more interesting.
I don't think it was hard, mate. Chelsea game was.
But like, the thing is like, I actually watched both of these games. I'm getting used to it now. I'm just in that, like, I watched the United game and we lost, and I was just like, whatever. It is what it is. The thing is, the first half that we played against Leeds and compare that to the first half that we played against Nottingham Forest are basically the same football. Like, nothing different happens. Yeah. Other than the fact that Leeds I do think we controlled the game against Leeds. They couldn't get out for like 30 minutes. And that's why we got loads of corners, which is like, for us, it's like gold dust. I thought it was hilarious. And I've only just remembered this now, but there was a free kick. I think we win. And like it's like right half of the pitch, like right up, like just past the halfway line in their half. And I remember us winning it. And I think we took ages to take it. And then in the end, we ended up like overloading the wing and putting like 4 players there. And I was like, what are we doing? And we won a corner. And in my head, I was like, I think we did that to win a corner.
I know what we were doing there.
I think that was the plan. And I can't remember if that's the corner we scored from, the first one. It might have been, or it might have been. No, it might have been like from another corner after that, I think. And then we scored the second goal. I think that was a different moment. But yeah, so like the first half was nothing happened. They had 1 shot and we had like 2 shots in the whole half. Very cagey, like we knew it was going to be. Leeds pressed us hard, they worked hard. And then we just scored 2 like pretty different corner goals. Okay, the second one I'm not going to give us a lot of credit for, admittedly, but the first one was like really well worked. I was happy Madueke, got a goal contribution, which was great. I'm glad he got the goal in the end as well. And then the second half, when it's all the spaces there and all the funds to happen, I thought we were excellent. I know some people are like, first 10 minutes, we didn't Leeds, we couldn't get the ball. We played bad. But I'm like, yeah, but Leeds are allowed to play football. Like we are, there is we can't just do everything and control everything. Like they overly had a lot of the ball, but what did they do? They had 1 header from a corner that we easily saved. That was it. So I was pretty satisfied with that. Obviously, Gyökeres missed that 1-on-1. But we were still creating chances. And then after that, we were excellent. And I was like, oh, great. Everyone's coming. Odegaard's coming on. He's having all the fun. Everyone's like, this guy's awful. He's coming on. Oh, look at this. Jesus is coming on. He's dribbling past the whole team. Timber's even putting good crosses in. What's going on? I was like, we never see this. So I was like, overall, like I thought that could be an easy banana skin, but we got away. It was a good game in the end.
Mate, it was a really good game. And like you say, it was nice to see some of those individuals come in. I think someone put in the comments last week, I'm going to check who it was while I speak. Someone put in the comments saying about how we'd kind of analysed it and looked at, particular individuals. We looked at Havertz and Gyökeres both playing. We talked about Zubimendi kind of stepping up and making sure that he's playing and making a difference, especially after United. I think everyone stepped up to the plate in that game. It was a really, really good watch. I mean, some of the moves, like the Jesus, the turn was beautiful. It was an absolutely just lovely game to watch. Who was it? It was. Oh no! Wow, there's a lovely message from Edwin Aldridge. Shout out to Edwin Aldridge. However, it's far too long for me to watch right now.
Wonder who that is.
No idea. I have no idea, Reece. I'm not gonna read it out or allude to who that might be. It was. Okay. About Arteta making aggressive subs. From Lucas. Thanks, Lucas. And he was saying it's the Forest game is the prime example for me where he needed to throw a kitchen sink for the past 10 to 15 minutes, but it felt like we were just passing sideways. And I think in that Leeds game, it was so different. Like there was a lot of impetus in going forward, and football's just fine margins all the time. I think back to the North London derby and some of those goals. they're just not going to happen for Eze on a different day. But that Leeds game, that everyone had, had something come off for them. It was lovely. We even got our star striker, Owen Goal. He got on the score sheet again, didn't he? Like that guy, worth his weight in gold.
Well,
We
no,
hardly
because
paid for him.
his goal got taken off him, so he didn't score it again. It's got stolen off him. It's a goal.
Like for as much as everyone in terms of rival fans online seem to hate Arsenal, they're doing their best to really help us along our way though, aren't they, at this current moment in time?
They're not even like normal own goals. They're literally like, obviously we are good at crossing from corners, I get that, but some of the goals that we're scoring, like the Wolves one as well, it's like, what are we even doing here, man? The goalies are just putting it in for us. I'm like Madueke did 3 incredible corners that they headed away, and I was like, great job. The probably worst corner he does the entire day, and the goalkeeper
That's the one that causes, crazy.
I thought that was so funny, man. That's such a weird way to get his first Premier League goal for Arsenal as well.
Yeah. Like, because especially with him, you would be going, I bet he's going to score a screamer. It's just going to be a random, like in the Champions League, where he lets an absolute rocket off. That's what I kind of thought would happen, but no.
The shot map from the first half is genuinely hilarious, because they had one shot from outside the box. We had the Zubimendi P roller, and then the corner goal, because I just technically the header was another one, but at the start they didn't count the corner as a shot, but then they did later because it got given as a goal, and it's so funny on the shot map. I'm like, what are we doing this?
No, I mean, and the difference between the managers, like Farker, I think he carried himself so well in that game. Like
he always does.
Yeah, you lose 4-0, and it's that place is a fortress. It's not an easy place to go. Yeah, and the way he carried himself at the end, I thought was just brilliant. Which is a nice little segue to another manager, LinkedIn Liam.
I love that name. That name is hilarious.
He is though, isn't he? Right. Let's go to how he carried himself at the beginning of that Chelsea game. So those of you who don't know, goalkeeper coach is retrieving a ball, apparently. That's what it was over as well. Wasn't it like a group of players over the halfway line? He goes to retrieve the ball, and Liam Rosenior just loses his mind. But in the video, he kind of like David Brent, which is so funny because everyone's been saying that he's like a bit of a David Brent. He like gives a good like side stare at the camera of her. He knows what he's doing. It's bonkers. Like, I don't understand what you're playing at. Like in isolation, I reckon I would be a bit peed off if people were coming across. But in that kind of situation, it's so over the top. It's almost like let's make this about me a minute. This is my moment. And it's just so cringeworthy. Just really is, says the man approaching his 40s, sat on the internet talking about football.
The internet's cool. The internet's so cool, guys.
But yeah, what are you thinking about that one? Because I know you actually watched the game live as well. So
it's quite funny because 2 managers that I probably have like the most connection to ever is Liam Rosenior and Daniel Farke. Because like obviously Daniel Farke, Norwich, I worked at the club when he was there. I mean, doing nothing. But obviously I went to University of Derby when Liam Rosenior was the assistant coach at Derby. And he came in and did many talks. He did many talks online on Zoom. I think he did a couple in person. So I've known like him for a while, like from that level. And he always was like it was him and Shay Given. They were always together, which is kind of funny, like looking at the way that them two have gone in their different paths. Shay Given's more of a pundit now, but I have a lot of respect for him because of that, and I do like know him pretty well. I've always followed his teams. I followed him quite well at Hull, so like I did a 35-minute tactical video about him when he joined Chelsea. Like I do like him a lot, and I like the things that he abides to, and I also don't even like. We'll get onto the approach that they did, but yeah, like. I just think, with this situation, I do think he's sort of trying, like, it's hard because it's like, where do you try too hard and when do you not? But I feel like he's trying too hard to assert himself and get respect. like in a sense. And I don't think he needs to do that. I don't think he needs to do all this stuff. If he was just angry on the pitch and said, get off, I think that's fine. But it is the fact he brought it up in the press conference when someone spoke to him. Because if you brought that up to like Arteta right now, I don't know if Arteta would have done this when he started, but he would be like, oh, it doesn't matter, we've moved on or something. He would just like the same with like the handshake or other things that happen. Like when he's in the press conference, he doesn't care as much, which I do think is the best way to go about it. I just think it's a bit of an experience, really. He couldn't lose that shake that off, obviously. And the fact we're still talking about it is because of him, because he brought it up again. So it's just a nothing burger, like, especially if it is the fact that like our assistant coach or goalkeeper coach went in there, which is a normal drill, I've been told. So yeah, it is weird. It is weird behavior. It's just genuinely like I like him a lot and I like the things he stands for, but he does come across like he is trying too much to be liked by people. I think that's the biggest thing. Like he's trying to play this media game, which he knows he's not maybe qualified to do. And I think he's trying to overcompensate sometimes, like almost focus on it too much. When I do think that your talking should be on the pitch, and then you can talk after it about whatever you want. Like Arteta, if he was coming out speaking nice when we were losing every game when he first joined, I'd just be like, I don't care. Like it is what it is. But like Chelsea are winning. He's won 7 out of 9 games. The only 2 he lost to us. So like, why is he not focusing on that? Is like where I'm like, he needs to, I think, do a bit better.
Yeah. I mean, he made one comment about Arteta, which was like, I like Arteta. I think he's a great coach. But I don't know, like we're so used to in the Premier League, especially having managers with big personalities, like especially winning managers. Like the best managers don't really go under the radar. Like even, like so if you look at like Fergie, Wenger, Conte, Mourinho, Pep, Klopp, they're all big characters in their own way. They're not like, of the same mold. I feel like he looks sometimes, it's like almost that like imposter syndrome, like, oh, I've got to act that way. Having said that, I have seen some videos of him on the internet where he is going in on his players. And I did think at the time, like, oh, from like the outside looking in, I don't really know him that well. Like, I know you know quite well, like following him. For me, it doesn't seem like, it's almost like a Jekyll and Hyde. It's almost like a one way of him talking and then one way of talking when he's under pressure. Like it seems like there's no in between. Sorry, by the way, if anyone can hear my dog sneezing and shaking right now. She's got hay fever. That's right. Dogs get hay fever too. So she's a bit poorly. So apologies about that. But yeah, like he just, it's like that try hard thing. Like, I don't know. It's just not for me.
I see that though. I do see that. Like, I don't know, man. He's always been a bit of a tryhard, but it does feel like he's overcompensating a little bit. Like he weren't like, I get Strasbourg is what it is, but he weren't like this. Like he weren't doing all this like added stuff. Like this is the thing. I think like with football, obviously we know that the managers have to care about every little detail. But I think sometimes, as well, when people like people talk about managers and players, there's I always say this, there's little details about the game that you should care about. And there's almost stuff that is not that important sometimes. It just kind of depends. And I feel like something like this is not important. Like I was a bit annoyed that Unai Emery didn't handshake Arteta because I do think it is disrespectful. At the end of the day, Arteta was fine with it because he didn't see it being like a big deal, which fair enough. Like I maybe I don't share the same opinion if I was in the same position, but I think like it's just some things that people care about way too much. And I feel like Pep and Arteta has developed to that of like knowing what is important. And I think he just needs to. It takes time. And it's definitely like he's got this weird rep like anyway, because there's a certain thing of like I think people respect Liam Rosenier, but then also there's a lot of people think he's cringe, and he is kind of cringe, and it's like where do you find that balance? And this wasn't a great way to go, I would say. And also how he set up in this game, I don't know if it's a great way to go either if you want to get good reputation.
No, like I mean, I guess we get onto the narrative of that as well at the same time, because I looked at it and went, ooh, that's not what I was expecting of a team that are down on aggregate and having to go away. Like Emirates has been a hard place to go. Like, have we lost one match at the Emirates, I think, this season?
Yep.
So to go there with a back five and then playing like Liam Delap out on the right, not centrally. And there was a lot that I had big questions of. And I think if you're going to go against Arsenal, you've either got to be super resolute defensively, and I don't really associate that with Chelsea. I think they've had like a really, really good scoring run. And on average, they don't score pretty much every game since, they had over the last 18 months. But so I don't really have that with them. So I thought their best chance is really to go gun ho, make it transitional. Like at the end of the last game, in the first leg, that's where we kind of got unstuck because it became too open. And then, unfortunately, that's what's going to happen at times. But they didn't do that. To go as a back five and then no Reece James, he's like their linchpin. He's the one that makes them tick. And I thought this could be painful. And for me, I looked at it. I know I listened to Ian Wright on the coverage, and he was very much pushing for Arsenal to go forward and kill the game off. And I understand that, but never did I look at that game and I was worried. It was like, okay, just another day. It seemed like a training drill. That thing of, just let them do what they want and we just soak up the pressure and just keep it ticking over. Not a problem. We know we've got that goal in the bank. So, and then at the end opens up because they had to go forward then. And then, a beautiful cross from Declan Rice. And then Kai Havertz, that finish and the badge tap. It was, that was just the icing on the cake. Just salty Chelsea tears from that moment. And I think the goal itself, that's really important for the fans. I think that, sometimes the narrative is important. I think Kai Havertz scoring that goal was massive because it gave everyone a lift of, Kai Havertz is back. It's the ex-Chelsea player. The badge tap. So everyone's like, he loves Arsenal more than he loves you. He's forgotten about you. Like there's so many different things with that goal. If it was another player, I don't think it might have had the same effect. It was just, as much as it was quite a dry game to watch, it was brilliant for us to get to that final. Did you celebrate that hard, mate? Or were you kind of one of these, because I know you've said in the past you would get rid of the League Cup.
Yeah, I still would. I made a short to the other day saying it's really important Arsenal win it, but I still would abolish it. Because I don't know. I just it's so funny how I celebrate because when we scored, went 1-0 up against Leeds, I probably celebrated more. But that's just who I am and what I care so much about this Premier League more than anything that every single game to me is like that. Also, it makes or breaks my weekend. In terms of playing, I obviously wanted to beat Chelsea. I was nervous going to the Chelsea game, but when we scored, at that point, I knew we were going to go through it. I weren't really that worried. A little bit, maybe, let's say, but I still thought it would be over. I would say that I'm probably more on the sort of so someone that someone that talks about tactics all the time and talks about all this nitty gritty stuff that a lot of people don't really focus on. And I always look at the bright side. I was pretty not annoyed, but in the moment watching the game, I felt ways in watching Arsenal that I wasn't happy with. And that does change with the fact that at the end of the day, Arteta's game plan worked. Chelsea barely created anything. I thought we defended fantastically. I never really worried about them scoring unless it was a long shot, which I do still worry that these teams can do against you. So I don't like defending because I don't like doing that against top teams. I just think that's a risky play.
Yeah.
But I do get it. I understood, and it worked at the end of the day. So a lot of people will not disrespect Arteta now, and they will disrespect Rosenier for getting his things wrong. But I understood both of where they were coming from, and I was like, it's just kind of happened, didn't it? I just felt like there was moments in the game. The thing is with the game, Chelsea were the first half was weird. They sat in a back five. They weren't really going at us. They were kind of just sitting in the mid block. They were waiting for us to do it. I remember, like, no one's ever going to believe me. And when this happened, I knew not, because this is why I should film. This is why I got to film me recording this, man. When, like, literally 2 minutes before Gabriel put Martinelli over the top, I literally said, like, in my room to myself, so even no one's going to remember it, I literally said the only way Arsenal are going to score is when we play the ball back, we get the ball high at the pitch, and then we win it back or something. We play the ball back into our centre back, and then when they're pushing up, we get them on that little transition pass, because that was happening all the first 25 minutes. And the only attacking that we could do, I saw it over and over again. Martinelli was always ready to make that run, and then there's sometimes he came centrally, and Hincapié was ready to make that run, and we didn't do that pass. Fair enough. But then Gabriel did that one pass, and we almost scored with Martinelli. And I was like, that's on. That is so on. If we just keep doing that. Unfortunately, it didn't really work like that. Chelsea did play well in their mid block to an extent, but they weren't really trying a lot. There was some efforts. There was some times that I was a bit nervous, like 5 to 10 minutes before the half ended. I thought that we were playing quite poor at that point, and I think Chelsea were getting back in the game. They almost scored from some set pieces or like whatever. They had some shots from outside the box, which, as much as isn't big chances for teams like, and for players like Enzo Fernandez and teams like Chelsea, that is still a bigger chance than like normal football, because they are good. So I do worry. And I always felt like with Arsenal, this is one of them games where you played a full team. I kind of want to see some sort of more. I'm not saying that we had to attack, because the emphasis wasn't on us to attack. And I was so frustrated watching Sky Sports and Gary Neville keep going on about it, saying it once or twice, saying, "Oh, I would prefer Arsenal to go for an attack." Is fair enough. I was thinking the same thing, but not over and over and over again saying Arsenal needs to attack, because we just didn't. We didn't need to. The emphasis wasn't on us. But I kind of hated that, because it kind of put us in a situation where we just defended. And I'm like, surely we have enough quality and players that we've signed to at least try something. And that's the kind of where I'm at. Like, we've spent I don't like talking about how the money's spent, because it's always so market dependent, but it is still relevant. You know, we spent 70 mil on Eze. We spent 50 mil on Madueke. We spent 50 mil on Gyökeres. You know, we've got Martinelli there, and Martinelli looked like the best attacker by a mile. But the other three, like, it's like we spent all this money on these guys. You know, they haven't played a huge amount of football, especially Eze and Madueke over the last month. I want more, and it's not their fault individually. I just felt like the team, I mean, we were getting flooded in midfield, so Eze was already kind of like not going to get the ball, because there was like 5 Chelsea players in midfield, just him. But I just felt like we weren't doing enough. We were being too safe, and I felt like if Chelsea get a goal here from a corner or a 30-yard screamer by Enzo, which isn't out of the realms of possibility, then we're like, oh, we've got to switch it up and got to attack. And I hate Arsenal doing that, and we do it so much. Obviously, it worked in the end of the day. Like, I take the win, and I really do want to give a lot of credit to every single one of them defenders, including Kepa, who I know had that little bit of a flap from the corner, and everyone's like, that was a big nervous moment. But barring that, I thought Kepa was pretty good. I thought he didn't do anything wrong. I thought his distribution is sometimes actually all right as well. Obviously, like I thought the defense was individually very good, especially defending. I think going forward they could have maybe done a little bit more. I think Gabriel again wasn't brilliant. I just was like sitting there thinking, like, I'm happy we went through. We did the right thing. I get it. But in some games, we need to learn to attack more, because we're going to play Sunderland tomorrow, and they're going to sit back and defend. And do we have enough to break them down? Because we haven't shown any sort of want to break down Chelsea, other than from like one set piece where we almost scored, and then we scored in the last minute when there's no one there. Like, you can't go for that every game. And I kind of want to see a little bit of intent, but it was fine. It's just kind of like that.
No, I know what you mean. It is an interesting one, isn't it? Because like, even listening to the pundits, I don't think, like, Ian Wright, like, I have massive respect for Ian Wright. He was my idol growing up. He's the reason I ate my peas and carrots, because apparently, according to my granddad, if you ate your peas and carrots, you'd be able to shoot like Ian Wright. So I always did. But like, he's got that mentality of go kill the game, go do it. But I think Arteta looked at it and went, we've been in this situation far too often. I'm just going to close it off. I'm going to make just basically like an old school Serie A team, and just make it as difficult as we possibly can. Like, I know Alex from the Different Knock was saying about Zubimendi, and he wasn't very happy with his progression and quite often taking too many touches and things. But I think that was instruction. I think he was specifically told, because that's not within his nature to usually do that. And I think it was a case of, no, just keep recycling it, make it difficult. Then both managers, oddly enough, wanted to get to that 60th minute kind of at 0-0, which is really weird situation. But I bet both of them were happy at that time, because I think our old LinkedIn Liam is probably sat there going, oh, time to change over now. Esteval coming on, Cole Palmer, who, by the way, both did nothing. Like, there is no change. And it's hard. You know, when you said about Arsenal having to suddenly switch over and go into an attacking mode, that's so difficult to do. Like, to suddenly change the rhythm of a game and change how you're kind of structured in attacking areas is just so hard, let alone against Arsenal. So, like, for him, I think it was a bad call for that reason. For us, I think Arteta looked to when, if we get to that point, they're only going to have about half an hour to get a goal. And I've got every kind of confidence that my team can keep them out and probably nick one, which we eventually did. So it seems like he was proved right. I did want to get on to the final, because we are going to Wembley, Reece. And first thing, I think we should get tickets for this. I think we need to do a FOKLZ live. We need to go live at Wembley and get tickets for this. But that's not what I was going to say. James B of the Different Not Plus. That shake of a head as I say it. So James B was saying, in his perspective, if we win, because of the timing of the final, he thinks that will kind of propel us. But vice versa, if we lose, he doesn't think that will knock us enough to stop us from winning the Premier League. So he was basically saying, I think at that point, we've got more than enough to keep going. And he thinks it will actually spur us on to win the league if we didn't win the trophy. Do you agree with James? Or are you going in on James?
It's such a weird situation, because I'm not really, like, I never really cared before, but obviously I said when we got to the semis that I think it is vital. I do think it's more psychological reasons why it's important than it is like physical, really, at the end of the day. If that makes sense. Like, I just think like the team needs it for their brain to be calmer than they do for, like, I don't think the performances are. It's an interesting situation because, like, it's in the end of March. I mean, with how City are playing in the league, like, at the moment, and if, like, they could be further behind us even more. Like, if there is such a big gap there, then I do think it is going to be hard. It's going to be hard for City to come back, like, genuinely, unless we are awful, which is a possibility. Like, we can be, but even looking at the games that both teams play, like, they've got to go away. I mean, they're away at Liverpool this weekend, but they've also got a harder top 6 games than we do. We play most of the teams at home who we play left, barring them and Tottenham, who we play in like 2 weeks. So, like, with that, with the fact that, like, I guess that I think they've got to play Villa at home still, maybe. Like, we've played, I think they've played Newcastle, I would imagine. I don't know. Actually, no, they've got to play Newcastle soon at home, I think. But we've got to play Newcastle at home as well. We've played Villa, we've played Liverpool. We have a definitely more favourable schedule, I would say. I don't know. I think, like, I think we should have enough to win the league no matter what happens in the Carabao Cup final, to be honest. Like, I think we can win it. I think mentally it'll be such an important part of it, but I don't think that's necessarily going to be the be all or end all from us not winning it. I think we can still win it anyway, and we can push on. I just think the Carabao Cup's a nice added bonus. Obviously, the players won't see it like that at all. I don't expect them to. They need to care. The thing is as well, I was saying this to someone the other day. I was like, we're going to care a lot more about the Carabao Cup from every single level than Man City are. Man City are in the Carabao Cup all the time. They are there all the time. Why would they? Even their players, some of their players have probably won it like 3 times. None of our players have won it, really. I mean, Jesus might have, but none of these players have won it, really, and we need it as a club, and these players need it. I saw what Gabriel and Saliba were doing at the end of the game, like their celebrations, their happiness, and I was like,
I mean, to be fair, Saliba loses his mind every
game,
own goal goes in, Saliba's running the length of the pitch to celebrate with the imaginary player there. Like, it's bonkers, like, his celebrations. But I do know what you mean. I think it's massive for this group of players, like, to finally get a trophy and then go on and go get another one. I do think it's a massive thing. I think with James, and James, if you're watching, this isn't a slight on you. I love you, James. I actually do. Not like that though. I think he's neglected one part, and a vital part of this. I think that final is massive for the fans, not because of what it is in isolation. I mean, I think you try to win every trophy. If I'm putting them in priority order, obviously League Cup is right at the bottom of it. But if we lose that final, the atmosphere in the Emirates could go one of two ways. It will either go really positive and everyone will get really behind them, or it will turn really sour if we've if we're against City, and that's the thing, because we've got to play City as well. I don't know. We've got them 2 games after, so they're playing Crystal Palace before the cup final, then they're playing Chelsea, then they play us. We play Everton, then we'll play them in the final, then Bournemouth. So some real tasty games from both ways. But I just hope that, and I genuinely think we will beat them in that final. And for me, this is massive simply for the narrative. If we go and beat Pep in the final, then we go and beat them in the league, win the league, put the final nail in the coffin there. So we've got 2 trophies right there against him. I think that's huge. That's huge for Arteta. It's huge for the club. And hopefully that will, spur us on long term, and in terms of a dynasty or a dynasty, depending where you come from. But yeah, I think it'd just be amazing. It'd be wicked.
Yeah, it would be. I think it is a needed moment, because even after the game, I was just yeah, and then I realised, and I was we've actually got to a final. This is the first time we've seen the club get to the final in 6 years. The last time we were in a final, I hadn't even gone to uni yet. It's such a, for me at least, for the 6 years that I've had since we've last got to a trophy. I was in college when we were in that FA Cup. The obviously I've had such a jump in my life and my career since then that it genuinely feels so alien to me to even feel this way, to get to a final, to the fact we're going to go to Wembley. I remember when we played Man City in that Carabao Cup final, we lost 3-0. I didn't watch it because I knew we were going to get thrashed. I was so, I was happy we got there. I remember thinking we're just going to get thrashed. I'm not going to watch it. I didn't watch one thing about that game. I think I saw a goal the other day about it, and I was I've never seen this goal in my life. And genuinely I never consumed, because I used to do that a lot. If I knew that I would just never bother. It would just annoy me. And in fact, I'm going into it so confident, we probably will be the favorite in many ways in it. I think the team will care about it. It's will they overly care about it? This is the whole thing. Will we, focus on it too much? I think with the fans' perspective, obviously, if the fans are going to be annoyed anyway, if we draw to anyone, they're annoyed, which is fair enough. But I think that if we're 10 points clear at that point and we lose, it will be a little bit finer than if it's closer. I think the fans are a lot more willing to give the team benefit of the doubt if we're doing well in the league, at least at that point. So I think it's just so hard to know, because obviously even though we just got there, it's a month and a half's time. That's a long time in football, especially around this period. So it's a long time. So we'll have to see what happens. But I mean, it's about getting there. That was the main thing. We've lost in so many semi-finals under Arteta. That was another thing, getting past these semis. Although it might be the smallest cup, it might not be the best opponent. I think Chelsea probably were the easiest one for us out of the 3 in the semis. But I think that, we needed to get past them. We needed to just figure out a way to do it. And, that's why a little bit, I give a bit of leeway to how we played on the week, because I think there was more nerves of going for it. And I think they did that in the first leg. And then they were kind of right, let's set up shop. We're at home a little bit now. And fair enough, it worked. We got through. And when they finally got to that final, and it's about playing in that final. Well, it'd be so interesting, because a lot of players will be playing to play in that final for the next couple of weeks. And there's a lot of positions up for grabs, especially you think about the forward 3. I think any of them, there's a lot of positions up for grabs that any of them can play. So it'd be so interesting to me, especially left back as well at the moment. Be interesting.
Yeah. I think we'll probably go into predicted 11s for Sunderland, and that's hard enough to kind of decipher what I think Arteta will do, let alone what I would do. But looking at the amount of games that we've got, Sunderland, Brentford, Wigan, Wolves, Tottenham. That's a massive one away. Chelsea at the Emirates, Brighton, Everton, and then we've got that game. We've got Champions League there as well. Like, that's a lot of football to be played before then. I think we just had pretty good news about Saka coming back as well. It seems like he'll make the North London derby. Odegaard should be coming back soon as well, hopefully. So it would be really good to have all our options available. But like you say, just going through the team, like the front three right now, Martinelli and Trossard, flip a coin, because they've had brilliant seasons. And I know people and that's the annoying thing, people from the outside, and we go to stats quite often to support our arguments. But I would like to think we try to stay as neutral as we can, rather than skewing the data to fit your argument kind of thing. And I bet there's a lot of people from the outside looking in that will go, well, Martinelli's not had a good season. Trossard's not had a good season. Look at their numbers. But really, they've been brilliant because they've had to kind of share playtime. They play that role completely differently. I'd argue Trossard has probably been our best attacker this season. And they've both been under immense pressure, knowing that they could leave the club. Fans haven't been happy with them. Like the whole idea for the summer transfer was left wing. We need a left winger. We need someone come in, and we can't just get a striker. We've got to get someone there. Oh, Eze will just walk in. That's where he's going. It's obvious. And they've both stepped up to the plate. They've been amazing. I think up top, you can make an argument for anyone. In another, month and a half time, could be completely different. Maybe there will be someone that you definitely go for.
Maybe
I think in a final it'll probably be a Havertz. Yeah, maybe they're all injured and Marino makes a mad recovery and suddenly he's like a savior again.
Evan Moody, is it? Well, the new signing, we'll put him up front.
But like, it's crazy to think that. Like Saka, if he's got injury concerns, like could be Madueke there. Centre midfield, I think, is set, but then you've got the argument for Odegaard and Eze, or do you do a Kai Havertz like we suggested last week, which worked perfectly, may I add. Left back, Hincapié, Calafiori, can he stay fit? Like, can Miles actually get back into the team there? It's mad. And then even in goal for that League Cup final, does Kepa keep his place, or do you put David Raya in for a final, knowing that it could affect the future? Like,
I'd play Raya, but I think Arteta's going to play Kepa. I just think he will. I just think he did. I can't remember. So this is the problem. I can't even remember much about the final when we went to play Chelsea, because obviously Emi Martinez played in that goal, but I can't remember at the time if he was starting in the league because Leno was injured. Like, I can't remember when Leno was injured, because Leno got injured against Brighton because that whole Morpay situation. Then Martinez had to play, but I don't remember the timeline exactly of how it all worked out, and if he was playing both at the time because Leno wasn't there, or Leno had come back.
I feel like Leno came back literally last couple of games of the season.
Yeah, because I was thinking like at the time, Emi Martinez might have just been playing most games anyway, so then it was like, oh, makes sense to start him. He was always going to start that game. I felt like he played all the cup games, but like that sort of things. I know that's such a long time ago, but that's the sort of things you see with loyalty of like, is he gonna play that? Like, we haven't really got any. Did he play? So did he play Raya? Yeah, he would have played Raya against Newcastle. Oh yeah, because we couldn't play Neto, so he had to.
Yeah,
so we can't even use that because we don't know, because he couldn't physically do anything else. So I don't know.
I think he'll play Kepa.
Yeah, so do I.
I think he'll look at it and go, because the other thing, it's not like we played a second string team all the way through. Like that the team that we played in that last game and the game at Stamford Bridge, they were strong teams. Like that back four is very strong. Like, it's the only change I would make if you're looking at the strongest back four would be Calafiori at left back. So I think he'll think to himself, yeah, Kepa's more than capable of, directing them and pulling off saves if need be. Like, he's been really good in that cup. I think he's been great. He's had a couple of little wobbles, but being the second keeper and having to step in, it's not easy. to suddenly do that. And I think he's done really, really well. And I think there's a little bit of ego in Arteta. I can imagine him going, yes, see all you naysayers saying about Kepa, me being one of them. Prove you wrong. Look, that was a perfect signing.
Also, it makes sense for the narrative and the story arc because Kepa has some history in the EFL Cup final, let's say, with him disagreeing to go. He's played in 2 EFL Cup finals. He's won one and lost one. So he actually has experience in them. I know, like, the whole penalty and him not coming off or whatever. It's like the thing that everyone remembers. But like, yeah, like that's the thing. Like, I think he will play Kepa. I don't think Rye's ever been in a final. I wouldn't expect him to. So I mean, that's the sort of levels that you get to, I guess.
That's
Unless
true.
he's been
Yeah,
at, like,
I can't
a
imagine he would
championship.
have.
He might have been in the playoff final for Brentford. Yeah,
Does
I
that
think
count?
that's at Wembley. It's a big day. It means a lot. I'd say it's a lot of expectation of that game.
I guess it does. Yeah. Nick King. Hope you're well, mate. Nick saw me earlier as I got my haircut. Feel sorry for City having to travel for a whole 2 hours. Yeah, how terrible. And Red Skull, Kroopy. Oh, Arsenal need to sign him. Yeah, I agree with that. I think we've said before, maybe not on air, it might have been off air, and we said about Kroopy coming in. That guy, the shooting technique of that guy is unreal. Like, just, yeah. I don't know if we would be able to, with the rumors of like an Alvarez style deal, which I think we are targeting for next summer. I think the plan would be that we go and get, oh, this is an interesting one. Going slightly off topic. Apparently, we inquired about Leon Goretzka this January coming in because his deal was coming to a close, I think, this summer.
Yeah.
So apparently Arsenal were looking at him, and we were linked to him previously as well, weren't we? So that looks like the type of deal that we might try to get done, which is such a better deal, wasn't it? But and then go for an Alvarez. Is there room for a Kroopy as well? I mean, it would be amazing.
I feel like Kroopy's just one of them. Like, I find it so weird because I feel like as soon as anyone does well in the Prem for about 6 months, every single like fan of a top 5 team or top 6 team just thinks they're like, they need to get him.
They're level above.
We have to get them. We have to get them. I think Kroopy's really good. There's so many analysts out there. I've done many good videos on them. One of the companies I work with has done a really good video about Kroopy, about like his XG, because his XG is a big thing. Like, he overperforms XG by an insane amount, but like there's only a couple of players throughout their entire career that have actually overperformed XG. Like, we're looking at like Son, maybe Aguero, like very, very rare players. Even very good strikers barely go over XG, like barely. So it's just so hard to know whether that is a consistent thing or he is just getting lucky in his shooting. Now, I do agree with you. The technique of his shooting is insane. I think like he has the techniques down. I think when you watch him, you can see that he clearly has that down. Like, it's not, you don't care about the stats in that way. I love him. I think he's better though as a secondary striker with a striker. I think he would be better. I also don't actually think him and Evangelson at Bournemouth is the right partnership. I think he needs a more like running behind striker consistently, like a Gyökeres. Like, Evangelson can do that, but he's a little bit more hold up and a bit more like that sort of way. He's a bit more of a facilitator as well. Like, I genuinely think if you put Kroopy in like a front two with someone like Semenyo, I think would work really well. Like, I think that would be sick. I think he's really good, but the problem is Bournemouth obviously had this whole plan with him when he was at Lorient. He's been known for a while at Lorient because that guy was banging in goals at like 17 at Ligue 2. So everyone knew. I knew who he was from a young age. He was also really good on FM for years, if anyone knows. But like they had that whole plan. They own both of the clubs, multi-club partnership. They brought him over. Like, we know Bournemouth just sold Semenyo for 65 mil, and Semenyo's like 26. Like, this guy is what, 19? Like, surely they're not. They sold Howson because he was of his release clause for 50 mil, and he was like 19 as well. I genuinely think they're going to want like 80, 90 mil. And I just don't, at that point, you might.
That's crazy.
You just got to get an Alvarez, in my opinion, if it's that amount. I also just do worry about how our setup works with him. I think sometimes people get very, like, tunnel visioned a little bit about like the Arsenal style. I get that
Yeah.
some people get so annoyed that if you ask any fan outside of Arsenal, they are so annoyed by the fact every Arsenal fan brings up that Ekitike is an Arsenal type striker, and I completely get it because I'm like, just move on. Like, who cares? Like, and also seen a lot of people say that he's not. He's an Arsenal type striker from like the early 2000s, but since like 2007, they've not really had players like that, and it's like, what is their style? Like, where do you categorize it? Which is fair because I'm like, when I look at someone like Ekitike, I see the talent there, but I'm like, I don't see that many people in my generation that I've seen like with him. I just think I get it. He's a bit Henry-esque. I get it, but he's not. He's
I just
not.
don't think there's like in terms of like striker talent and like true strikers, there really
There
aren't
isn't
that
none.
many.
Yeah, there isn't.
Like,
None,
and the ones that we know are all, apart from Haaland, I guess, like at the end of their careers, like the
yeah.
true brilliant strikers, like the Lewandowskis. As much as I hate him, the Kanes, like they're just not around now, which is why we're in a position where we've got Havertz, Gyökeres, and Jesus, who are all, good players, but they're not truly great. Like they're not the ones that you look at and go, yeah, you remember back 15 years ago when they had that player. It's not like a Liverpool with a Suarez or a Torres or something like that, or a Henry or an Anelka that we've had, those type of players. And but the game's changed because now it's all about inside forwards and facilitating them, because that's the easiest way to get the space, rather than, especially with us, central progression. How often do we talk about that and the fact that we can't progress through the lines that way, and we don't like to do it that much, to be fair. I don't think it's a preference of Arteta to do it that way. So regardless if you can, if you want to, if you don't, the personnel is not that type of personnel anyway. Like, I think if we could get an Alvarez, that would be really interesting to see if we use him in a two-striker combination. If we use him out on the left, if we use him in isolation, like, that will be really interesting. But what I do like about that idea is that he's such an interesting profile on his own. He's got so many elements to his game that I just love. I love watching him play.
The best thing about all of it, though, with both of these players that we're talking about, is that they give Arsenal options, and that is basically what Arteta has always tried to buy players for. Players that maybe have a position, but maybe they have the attributes to do something else, or they can facilitate other roles a little bit more specifically. He went against that this year, buying Eze, buying Gyökeres, which makes sense because we haven't won. So he's obviously like, well, we need to try something else. I don't hate the Eze one because I think Eze is somewhat versatile in some of the ways he plays, although I do think he's a little bit less than some of the other midfielders we have. I think there's ways he brings things that we don't have. Gyökeres as well is a traditional like number 9, number whatever striker. I worry a little bit because I do think that that has honed us into this sort of striker system where he is not good enough to warrant that in the spot. I don't think consistently, and I also do think that I just don't think we work best with a striker properly. But then I guess it's not bad to have that option there. He's always going to be here now. Like, he can come on in games, play certain games. I like that option there.
I like him as a finisher, not in terms of like shooting finisher. I mean, like finishing a game. It's the same way we like use Martinelli at times. I think we could get more out of him in that way. And in Europe, he's been so useful in Europe, like really has. And when push comes to shove, he's available. And we can't say that about any of the other strikers.
That's true. That used to be the big thing about Xhaka, wasn't it? When Xhaka was bad, I remember the whole thing would be like, well, he's never injured. I swear he was injured for like never, like for 6 games or something in like 6 years. He was just always there. And it was like, well, at least we can rely on him to consistently be in the team. And that's such an important thing. That is why it's the best, what they say, best
ability is availability. Yeah, it's so true. Like, I would be really interested to see like an Alvarez behind a Gyökeres, or an Alvarez like off of a Havertz. Like when we played Havertz and Gyökeres this week, but instead you have Alvarez up top. Like, that would be so interesting with Havertz and these box crashes, and it would be so nice. Or like him playing close to an Eze. Like, I'd love to see that. He just gives us different options, and that's what we need. Like, we've got to the point now in this squad where any player you're bringing in has to just give you something else now. I think the Lookman move was really interesting as well, because that's almost like, is that them pre-planning and going, okay, we can get him in, not bad money, he's quite athletic. I know he's not like a 9, but is that them kind of reshuffling and getting ready for a new attack in light of Alvarez leaving? Maybe.
Well, it's actually funny because I made a video about Lookman for a company, and obviously he scored in his debut and got an assist yesterday. But they also bought Mendoza, who obviously we've spoken about.
Yeah,
Mendoza looks so good on his debut. I was like, where we did go in from though? I was just like, I get it. I like the talent is decent, but it's not like it's not like elite talent. So if you don't want to take that risk, if you're Arsenal, who are trying to aspire to be the best club in the world, he could end up being like a Lokonga sign. And so I get why they might have not risked it. But then I watched one game with him at Atleti off the bench, and I was like, okay, yeah, because he wasn't even playing for Elche over the last couple of months. So it's been hard to really see how he's developed. I watched him a lot before we were linked in like December, January start. He hasn't played. He started one game in like 3 months or 2 months. He's barely played for whatever reason. But he came on again for Atleti the other day, and like the technical ability is there. He covers ground great. I was like, I agree with you. The Lookman thing. Atleti do weird things, by the way, because Lookman, I'm guessing they're going to play as a striker because he can't. They play a 4. They play a 4-4-2, and I mentioned in my video about Lookman that he has to have a player on the outside of him. If not, he's useless. He cannot do anything. So Buena is their left winger. He was one of the best. We spoke about him before, like ages ago, but like one of the best creative players in Europe. Oh yeah, what have they turned him into? A bloody defender. I've heard so many Atleti fans complain. Like, I've literally spoke to loads of them about that. Like, we just turned the best Spanish creative player and put him in the defense. I was like, that's crazy. But like he's like on the outside.
To be fair, we kind of know all about that.
Yeah, I know it's awful. But I think I look at that and I do think, well, they clearly don't want Alvarez. He didn't even come on yesterday. I know they were 5-0 up, maybe whatever, but so weird, man. This guy was like a proper leader for them, but they only seem to play him nowadays with Sorloth, the big guy up front. They don't really play him with Griezmann as much anymore. I don't know if that's because of Griezmann's legs or what, because Griezmann looked all right yesterday when he played with Lookman. So I think as well, you're right. I think they saw Lookman because Lookman was going to go to Turkey. That fell through and he went to Atleti, which way better move for him. But I think like why are they buying another attacker for 35 mil when they've got loads? They clearly want to get Alvarez or cash in on them or whatever they're doing with Alvarez. I think he's there to be got, and I just think like
I hope that his valuation tanks as well, because if they carry on and they don't keep playing him, that 100 million euros is going to start reducing quite dramatically, because we'll just go, all right, you keep him. Like we can move on to other targets. It's not a problem. So yeah, I like the move all over. In terms of other moves though, Red Skull, this is a good question. Who is great cover for Rice? Now, we had been linked to Tonali, which was really interesting because, first of all, the agents came out and said, no, nothing to do. We've got no communication with Arsenal. Then it turns out they had actually offered him to Arsenal, which is madness within itself, isn't it? Like, I don't know about you. Like, I like Tonali, but I don't think he's the player I would go for. You're going to have Premier League tax. You're buying a player from Newcastle, and I think that in itself is going to be really difficult. And they're going to make it as difficult as they can. I can imagine that transfer like rumbling on all summer. He's just not what I want, and I also don't like the off the field antics. Like, I've had enough of midfielders over the past 18 months with their off the field issues. Like, it'd be nice to get someone without him. Like, is Tonali for you the right fit on his own? And then after that, is he the player that you would get? And if not, who is it?
I think, like, in terms of players, he is one of the best midfielders in the world. Like, I still genuinely do think that. I know he's had a bad couple of months. Like, it was so funny because at the start of the season, if you ask any Newcastle fan, I saw it loads on social media, he's the best midfielder in the world. He's better than Rice. And then he's had an awful last couple of months, and now they don't rate him, and now they all want him gone. It's funny that. It's funny how fickle people are, like, and how stupid people can be just genuinely. Like, and like, stuff like that. I'm like, I rate him. I think he's a great player. I've always rated him. I used to love him when he was at well, he was, he rejected Inter Milan and went to AC and all that stuff, and then it was a bit of a mess back there as well. But like I've always liked him throughout his career. I think genuinely, like if we're talking about as someone that is plays similar to Rice, he's probably the closest in the world. He's definitely up there in at elite level. Like how he covers the pitch, how he runs, does remind me a lot of Rice. Obviously, I think if we brought him in, it'd make our midfield like insane. But like I'm a logistic guy, and this logistically just doesn't make any sense. Like you said, exactly, like literally, like the money's going to cost loads of money. You got the Newcastle tax, and then it's like he's going to sit on the bench. Let's not remember this. Like he is not starting over Rice. You can't play him and Rice together. Maybe you can in some games, but probably not.
He's not starting over Zubimendi.
Yeah, what you could do with Zubimendi, and
you can't play them as a 3. Like,
so
I mean,
it's like one of them things where like I always have this conversation with Arsenal fans a lot where they look at a player and they're like, I really want this player, really want this player. But I'm like, we are at the level right now where we can't really buy starters, bar maybe a striker and a left winger, maybe. Barring that, I don't really think we can buy strikers around the pitch like that much because they're all going to have to, and at least not maybe be behind someone else, but compete head to head with someone else. There's not going to be a guaranteed you start for anywhere on this pitch. So you have to buy players that are willing to take a less wage because they are known they're not going to play as much. 2 are probably versatile. You want versatile players like a Marino, who's a great example, who isn't the best footballer in the world, but he's versatile enough to do a job in multiple positions and come in when he needs to. And you need players that are willing to wait. And that's why I always go to more younger players because younger players are more willing to wait. This is why Mosquera, I did a tweet about him today. I think it's the perfect signing because he's young, he's experienced, but he's at the level when he comes in where I don't think any of us are worried. I think everyone's loves it. He's great. But he doesn't need to start every game because he's super young still, 21. He's had a lot of game time. He can wait. This is the thing you get with Miles and Ethan. I know everyone cares about them a lot, but they don't need to play every game. They're super, super young. They can wait a little bit. I just don't think Tonali's going to want that, is he? He's just going to want to stay. No. He's just going to want to play. He's just playing for Newcastle. And when you think about that, you think about it's going to cost 70 mil. I also heard, I don't know how reliable this is, but I also heard that the whole reason why he got offered that was because he wants to leave Newcastle because he wants to go back to Italy because he's homesick. Like he's really homesick. And I heard that apparently the agent just was like, well, we want you want to leave. Okay, I'll try and get you some offers out. But they know that none of the Italian clubs can really afford him right now. It might have to be some deal. You do like a loan or something in the summer. But then Newcastle won't want that to happen. We know they won't. So apparently it's so difficult for him to leave Newcastle and go back to Italy that they were trying to offer him to other clubs. But I don't think he'd want to come to Arsenal. I think it's more of a situation he wants to go back home. And that is very common with Italian players more than anyone. Like, that is such a common thing. He didn't even want to leave AC Milan in the first place. He was crying when he came to Newcastle.
Yeah, I remember.
He got forced out because of the money problems that they had at the time. But he wants to go back to Italy, and I can't see him coming to Arsenal as well, like logistically. But like as a player, incredible player. Like he's an incredible player, but it's just logistic. It just doesn't make any sense, really.
The only way I could see it kind of make it, because I think Bruno might be a better fit for Arsenal, considering I don't know, he might look at it and go, well, I mean, what's the age difference between the two of them? I'm not too sure, because I always think that Tonali's a lot younger than he actually is, and I think it's because he's just been around for so long.
He was playing at 17, with Serie A. This guy's been around.
So Bruno is 28. Tonali, let's have a little look. How old is he? He is,
I think he's
25.
Yeah, he's
yeah. So I think Bruno may look at it and go, do you know what? This is my last chance to get the big trophies. So if I sit on the bench, albeit, so be it. But I just think, you're right with Tonali. It just doesn't make logistical sense. Like Red Skull said here, Elliot Anderson is my pick. Who's yours? Okay, so I know one player that we're both going to mention here, which is Buwadi. Like in terms of that youth profile, the talent, the ceiling of the lad, the different options he gives us, the ability to break lines, and his he's got such an interesting style of running with the ball. I love watching him play. He'd be one. I mean, in terms of players in the Premier League, I just love Wharton. Like, he makes a lot of sense stylistically as well. I think Elliot Anderson will start for England, and I understand why. But for me, if I was getting one, it would be Wharton. But again, I just don't know if that would make sense for
It's
us.
the same thing, innit? Like,
Yeah, like
I look at all of the Premier League midfielders like this, but then I do think like, well, if not all of them are going to go to these big clubs, so maybe there'll be one available. But then it's like, do you want to get the scraps? Like, I put all four of them in the same sort of category. Obviously, you got Baleba, who's not English, but you've got Wharton, Anderson, and Alex Scott. I put all in the same
yeah,
category. That they all do different things. I think Wharton's a better fit for Arsenal. I think Anderson's the better player. I think
yeah,
Anderson's
yeah.
incredible. I did tweet about him as well today. Crazy that we talk about him. I did just watch him lose to Leeds, but I think he tried his best. That's the main thing. So, but, but like, I do think like it's just one of the things they're going to cost. Like to get a player, I'm not even thinking about Forest and their like the whole release clause, Marinakis. Like, I'm not even thinking about that, but just thinking about Palace and the absolute mess that Crystal Palace are right now. Like, Adam Wharton to their one big sellable asset. They're going to want like 100 mil, man. I think Real Madrid are interested. I actually kind of hope he goes to Real Madrid. I think that'd be a cool
That
move
would
for
be
him.
mad, wouldn't it?
But I don't know if he'll play that much, so maybe that won't be the best. But like, that's the sort of thing where I'm like, I just can't see any of these players being in that price point. Baleba is probably the cheapest one now because he was going to go to United. It didn't happen. And now he's been awful this year. And I don't even think United want him. I think United will probably move on to other targets if things happen the way they want. And I look at him and I'm like, I still think he's a very good player. He's a little bit more like a Thomas Partey-esque mold. But I said this the other day to someone. I was in a stream of a YouTuber, I can't remember his name. And we were talking to him, and I said that I kind of think this year that we're going to go more. I think that because Bert is in charge now or there, he's going to go way more for that attack. I think we're going to focus on the attack this year. I know we did last year to an extent, but that was after we bought Zubimendi. That's after we looked at other profiles. Like, I think now what we're going to do is probably, let's say we get an Alvarez or we don't get an Alvarez. Let's say we get a Krupi. We spend like 80 mil on that or whatever. Then let's say, obviously, we do a lot of changes to the attacking line. Jesus leaves, maybe one of the wingers leaves, like Trossard. We'll see what happens there. And we buy a left winger as well. Maybe it doesn't have to be like a really expensive left winger, but let's say we spend like 40 mil on a left winger, a young guy, give him some chance, see if he can be that profile. I then think that they're more likely to go for a more cheaper midfielder option. And I also think that's down to, as well, we don't need a starting midfielder and we need probably starting attackers. So I think I would invest more money in the attack as well. So I think, like, if you're just looking at that, like, obviously this isn't really a Rice replacement, but a Gume is a brilliant like DM just to have. Like, I think it'd be a great player just to cover for Zubimendi if Norgard leaves, whatever happens with that. That's not going to cost that much, 25 mil or something. Get him in. I think that's calm. And then if you want to move, you can move Miles in midfield if he ever wants to do that in his life. I still think that's fine if you want to move Miles as the backup for Rice. In so many ways, I look at the market and I'm like, there is players that do a lot. Like, we talk about Mendoza, but I'm like, is he actually going to be better than Miles? Or should we just keep Miles as that backup for Rice? Like, I think that might be the easiest option if we're going to buy Hincapié, like, which we probably will. And if Calafiori's going to stay, there's been more links to defenders than if anything. I mean, there's loads of players I like as well. Like, I love a guy called Palacios at Leverkusen, but that guy's been injured the entire season. Like, and that
I
guy
looked
cannot
at him
stay
last
fit.
year. Yeah.
I like
He'd be
Fernandez
injured.
from Leverkusen as well, but like, these guys are like, there's just so much. It's so hard with midfielders because every midfielder in world football plays such a specific and different role within their team that it's so hard to compare it. I hate when people compare players to others. 'Cause I'm like, they're so different in the way they work, the way that they do things, the way that everything goes around. And I don't know, man. Like, it's just one of them things where it's so hard. Because like 2 years ago, if you said to me like Nico Barella, I think Barella's class. This year
Yeah.
he's been awful. One of the worst midfielders in the top five. I'm like, I just don't know how to judge these guys. Like, I don't know what it is at. So
Well, I
I
remember
reckon we'll either.
valuing and going, I reckon he's going to be £100 million player. Like, I can
Yeah, I
remember
mean,
saying that and going, that he'll be the next one. We've seen Caicedo go for, he'll be the next one from Brighton, but it shows you how quickly it can change. And we're in a position where you look at our midfield, like in terms of like centre midfielders, so Declan Rice, Zubimendi, and what they do, they are the best in the world at it. Like, they just are. There's no one that really competes with Declan Rice in terms of just like the physical like abilities he has. It's unbelievable. Like his ability on dead balls and set pieces is unrivaled as well, let alone any other things that he does, like the recovery, like his ability to break through the lines, like his progressive running and things. And Zubimendi's the same. Like, he's not your regular 6, and he's really shown that this season. So any player that you're bringing in isn't going to usurp them, and it's really hard to judge them against them because of their profiles, their specific ways of playing. So I think you just we're going to have to get someone younger and someone that gives us something just completely different. So if we need to change things up, like, because where are you going to find another Declan Rice? Like, really?
That's quite interesting you say that, like, because I forgot that we had a lot of links to Johan Mazambi, who plays for Freiburg.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I've only watched I haven't watched a lot of this guy. I don't really watch Freiburg. Sorry, Freiburg fans. But I saw this guy was linked, and I have watched him before, like when I've watched Bundesliga games, like I just do randomly. But I don't know a lot about him, so I can't speak about him in detail. But all I can say, like, I just know that he runs a lot. That's kind of what I got from when I watched him. And he's a guy that was linked to us. Apparently, that would only cost around 30 mil. He's 20 years old. That is like what we're talking about. I can see us so doing that sort of signing where it's like, oh, this guy's a centre mid. He plays in the Bundesliga. He's really young. He's really just runs around a lot. He's 6 foot. He's got maybe some physical levels that you can get him in. Like, that's the sort of signing I think we can do. And I think we've earned that. I think we can do that now. I don't think we need to. And then I would rather us spend 20, 30 mil on centre midfielders. Maybe let's say we get a centre mid and a DM if you want to do that, if you want to get rid of Norgard or whatever you want to do with him. And then I'd rather just spend like all our money on the striker, left winger. I really don't know if we are going to buy left winger now, but I definitely think we'll buy a striker, which is weird to say again, 2 years back to back. But I think Jesus is leaving. So I think that's just an easy tap into that, really.
And you know, the one thing we haven't mentioned, that we have mentioned multiple times in the past, is that maybe Miles is that profile midfield. Maybe he's that third player, that one who comes in, because like youth-wise, plenty of time, ability, like to retain possession. Like, we've seen him break through, like, oh God, the way he carries the ball is unbelievable. Very different to Declan Rice, but he's got that ability to do it. And maybe that's the long-term plan, that we're not looking at a centre midfielder because we got one right there. You know, he's in the club. Why wouldn't you? So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm excited about the summer because once we've gone and won the quadruple and we've got the pick of the bunch, you know, we do what we want. Do what we want, Reece.
I really wonder if he's ever going to play Miles there. I hope he does. I made a video about it this week because I think we're going to see a big indication within the next 4 months of whether he has a future there. And I know I've said this before, but it's always been like injury dependent. There's always been a lot of things going on where it's hard to like gauge. But right now, Marino has broken his foot and he's out for probably the rest of the season, we would assume, or around there. So we are going to need midfield cover. We are going to need Miles to play in midfield. And I do want to mention as well, like, Norgard, I've mentioned it before, but he needs to play. We'll go into it a bit more every time he's come in. But he's got to play. I'll talk about it a bit more when we go through the lineup. But like, yeah, there's some things that I would like Arteta to do, especially tomorrow, I think.
All right, let's go through the lineups before we finish up then. Oh, this will be interesting. I wonder if we're going to agree, because last week we pretty much agreed with every single one. And I even went for Havertz in midfield, so God help us. In goal, David Raya.
I think Setford is close to his first game. But
I'm sure you said that last week as well.
Yeah, I did. I got it wrong. I thought Setford was
a bit worrying. You're actually advocating for Setford. It was not a joke. You're like, oh, no, I think we should should get that lad in.
Should I make a video about Setford?
Please do. Please do.
That'll go well.
A right back.
Timber's not fit. Timber's not fit, so Timber I don't think will be in the squad anyway, or he won't start.
I thought he might make it.
Well, he might, but he started both of the last games. I would assume that Ben White would just come in anyway. I also think I wanted Ben White to start against Leeds. I wanted him to start against Chelsea. So Well, we start this one then.
Yeah, and I think he makes sense anyway with the type of game I perceive it to be anyway. Like my preconception.
Yeah, it will be.
It will be that it's going to be, you know, just break down a block. And,
they're a good defensive side, and they are not that great going forward, even though they score goals like crazily. Like I think it will
and
sit in
he just makes sense of that. Him and Noni that's gonna be an interesting combination. Like I will be interested to watch that. In which case, let's get to the other fullback. Who do you put in? Like if Ricardo Calafiori is fit, who would you play?
Yeah, I think I'd bring Calafiori back into the side now. Like, I think he must be like somewhat there fit. He came on? Did he come on? I don't know if he came on against Chelsea. He might have not, but he came on against Leeds and looked pretty good in that 15 minutes that he came on. Obviously, Hincapié is more just of a lockdown defender, which I just don't think we're going to need in this game. I also do want to give credit to Hincapié because it was his best game, but by a mile in his Arsenal shirt against Chelsea. Thought he was excellent. And I thought he was excellent. I already planned to do a video on him, and I looked online, and everyone was giving him praise. And I was like, okay, like I'm glad that like everyone's kind of seeing it. I thought he was like his defense, like anyone they put at him, I thought he was just really, really calm out there. So I feel like as well, he's played the last couple of games, give him a bit of a rest. I don't mind if you want to play Miles there. I'm always advocate for Miles to be in the team. I don't really care. I think Miles should get the time, but I think you want to get Calafiori up to that fitness. You start him, maybe play 60, and then you bring on Hincapié or whatever you want to do then. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I thought Calafiori, but you saying about Hincapié, maybe it's a bit harsh bringing him out. Maybe this is a time just to keep him going, just get him that run of games and even better form. But then, like, throw it back to a week ago, the last FOKLZ podcast, and I'm saying we really miss him. We need him in the team. Like, he is such a integral part to the way that we attack and build up play. So, I don't know. Maybe I stick to my guns and go Calafiori. I'm looking at the next games because we've got Brentford and Wigan. So maybe it makes sense. You bring Calafiori back in for this one and Brentford, and then Hincapié comes in against Wigan and Wolves. Then you can bring Calafiori back in fresh for Tottenham in the North London derby.
Ooh. That's true. I would say usually Miles would play the Wigan game, but then because Marino's injured, I really want to know if he's going to play Miles in midfield, and I really think he's going to have to. Like, I don't know who else he's going to play there at this point. Like, I think he might have to play against Wigan. And that game,
that'll be interesting
because this is what I said in my video about it. Like everyone keeps going on like Miles is gonna like replace Marino, which is fair, but Miles was already playing every B team game anyway, Champions League games, the league games, but he's always playing left backs. And if he's not, then you're gonna have to bring someone in left back, and it's like that's even more complicated because usually Calafiori, if he's going to play centre back in them games sometimes, or Hincapié's played centre back in them B team games. So it's like, what do we do here? What goes on? I really want to know. I'm really interested if we play that Dixon guy against Wigan. Where we just signed from Stoke.
Mate, that is a shout. I didn't even think about that.
He has actually played pro level football a couple of games for Stoke. He is like, we spent a lot of money on that guy for the academy. I watched a bit of him in the academy recently, and I was like, this guy looks right. Like physically, he looks big. So I was like, you know what? I wonder. Like we've given Salmon times off the bench and brought on, and Salmon's 16. This guy's like 18, 19. So he's a lot more older and experienced. So I wonder if he'll be like at least on the bench. There may be an option in these games to come on and that could be something we do if we're beating Wigan by a lot.
That is a good shout. I haven't even thought about that. Like it's not even entered my mind at all. But it could be interesting because you could play Calafiori for this game. You play Hincapié against Brentford, then like Miles or someone against Wigan, and then you build it back up. But then does Mikel want Calafiori to get a string of the games before the North London derby? Does he want him coming in more cold? Like, it's interesting. Do you need to build up his fitness? Because for those of you that don't know the fixture list, so it's Sunderland, Brentford, Wigan, Wolves, North London derby. Then we play Chelsea at the Emirates. And then it's Brighton, Everton, then City with Champions League thrown in there as well. I mean,
It's
a
just one of those
mad,
things.
mad bunch of games.
I wouldn't play any player barring maybe like Rice 3 games in a row. And I've said this all
Yeah.
season. I really do think Arteta has to do a better job at this. Like, I'm not really someone that like feels that these players need to get up to speed that much. I feel like you play 15 minutes off the bench this game, you play half this game, you should be okay. Like we saw with Havertz. I know Havertz took
Yeah.
ages to come back, but he played what, like 15 minutes off the bench, like 30 minutes, and then he played a half, and then now he started against Leeds, played 60, came on in the week. Now he's like playing
Yep.
more than Jesus. Like, and it's like I'm looking at that and I'm like, I just really think that Hincapié does. I don't want to run any. We have no reason to run any players into the ground. So, and I don't want to do that with any excuses. The only player that I can kind of get it with is Rice. And he just seems like a bit of a beast anyway. So like he is quite stern, a little bit like
He
Xhaka
seems to
was. But
enjoy playing more games. I remember him saying, was it the
yeah,
World Cup? And he said, I need games to get up to speed. He doesn't like time out, which is fine.
I get, yeah,
I get
but
that. Like when I was playing,
yeah,
I hated that having to sit out. It
yeah.
it just didn't work for me. But yeah, we've got the options now. Like, albeit, Saka's out temporarily, Odegaard's out, Marino's out long term, but for the rest of the squad, touch wood, it's looking relatively healthy.
And
We're
we
gonna
were
have
so like when we played Sunderland last time, I always mention it, even though we drew 2-2, but that away game, like that sort of second half period when we were losing and we came back, we were so excellent that whole second half. Probably one of the best attacking second halves we've had in a while. We were just on them. We could not get out. And one of the big reasons for that was Calafiori. I thought his
Mm,
movement in this left chart. I did think Eze, Zumendi, everyone was like so vibrant that day. Everyone was like moving around, rotating lovely. But I thought Calafiori was also really good going forward in that game. And I mean, this is a little overkill, but that's why I think he might start Hincapié, just because he thinks if Ben White and Calafiori play, like what is going on? Like you got Ben White who wants to overlap and he goes up the floor. You got Calafiori just running everywhere. Like it might be too much. And it might be a thing where he's like at half time or 60 minutes, oh, let's bring Calafiori on now, do that, rather than let's
yeah,
start with that. Because he might want to keep it a little bit calmer at the start, which is usually what Arteta does. But I wouldn't care personally. I'd just be like, yep, Calafiori and White, go and have
go
fun.
for it.
Let's just go for it. Yeah, exactly. Let's just go for it. Like, but I just have a feeling he might not do that. But maybe he will. I want to see. We all want to see Calafiori back. Obviously, randomly got injured in that warm up, which is happened twice now in a month, which is very weird. But what's going on there? But like, so I think Calafiori start. And talking about rotations, like I do want to say, well, I'll let you. I'm going to say some stuff that I don't think you're going to agree with, so I'll let you speak first.
Oh, okay. All right, let's carry on with the lineup. But after, I've just quickly says, evening 6:10. Yes, it is still me, Forder, on the left, holding and hiding my receding hairline. Thanks, mate. And we'll probably get onto this in a little bit because I know George Vucis has said about Saka playing in midfield for a game one day. We have right wingers, especially with Max coming back. Obviously, Max got to get back to full fitness, but that's really positive. That'd be really nice if we go further in the FA Cup as well. And
yeah, he can hopefully play against Wigan. Hopefully, if he's fit.
yeah,
I don't know what his timeline is though, because we're just so in the dark. I heard that he's still
no, I haven't
injured.
had a look yet. So yeah, that'll be an interesting one. But I like the idea of Saka playing in the middle. But right now, I'm looking at it, and I just think we've got just plenty of options, especially with Kai becoming back now. Because if really like centrally, you've got Eze, Odegaard, and you've got Kai now. So we've got different options. I don't think you have to do it with Saka. Plus, with the injury, I think it looks like as soon as he comes back, you're playing him out on the right. But there we go. Centre backs, I think maybe Gabriel and Mosquera. Maybe give Saliba a little break here. But
that's what I was gonna say. That's what I did for you.
Is it?
I think Mosquera's got. I don't know if I was gonna go Gabriel Mosquera. I haven't really thought about that. I just thought Mosquera's got to start, no matter where it is. I don't care. I think it's time. I think it's time we unleash him. Because I just think, like, I look at it and I go, I thought he should have started against Chelsea personally, and I get why he played a strong team, but I mean, like, I do think this week really frustrated me, and I know no one's going to care, and I know it doesn't matter, but We were 3-0 up against Leeds with 20 minutes left, and his refusal to take off any of the defenders or midfielders just
Yeah.
annoys me to no end, because I'm like, oh, if your idea is that you're going to play Saliba 90 or Zubamendi 90, and I will get on to Zubamendi when we get to midfield, and I'm not happy, but we will get to that. Like, I'm thinking, oh, well, if that's the plan, if they're going to play, like, surely they're going to not start against Chelsea then. Oh, no, they all start. I'm like, why? That's just
Yeah.
no need. That is his old problems that Arteta had, and he's just refusal to do simple things that I see that he just doesn't want to do. Like, what is the point of buying all
Unless
these
he's
players?
looking currently and going, look, I just want to get them through those next 2 games, and then Sunderland, I'm going to make some changes. Unless that's his.
Maybe,
But
but we're 3-0 up away at
yeah,
Leeds.
no,
He's just
I
given up.
agree with you, but I'm just
It's
trying to get into the head of the madman.
It's so weird. I think it's just down to like how they see things and how they they formulate things. But in my
Mm.
in my opinion, as soon as you go, like, if anyone plays Football Manager, if you go if I go 2-0 up, well, that's it, right? 14-year-olds are coming on. I don't care. Like, they rest the players. They need to be rested. Like, we've had so many injury problems. We can't sit here and complain about injuries over and over again when we do things like this. And I'm like, Mascara is perfectly good enough to play. We've seen it. We've seen him come in multiple times and been absolutely fine. We are 3-0 up against Leeds. If he comes on for 20 minutes, I don't think anyone's going to care. Leeds weren't doing anything. It is fine. Mascara can still play. Against
His
Chelsea in the
build-up is
EFL
really good.
Cup.
I think it'd be interesting because if
Yeah,
Ben White is playing as well, that'd be a really good combination, I think. I think he'd be great.
Mascara needs time. And like a game like this, which is going to be a tough game for him, I would assume that Sunderland are going to attack a lot more than they're going to defend. No, defend a lot more than they're going to attack. I don't think they're going to go forward that often, really.
Mhm.
And they haven't really shown they will do away at these big teams. Maybe they change it up now and go, wow, we weren't working before. But these sort of things, I'm like, yeah, okay, now it's time to play Mascara. Like, I think he should come in. He can rotate for either the centre back. We've got a game on Thursday next week, then Sunday. I know that neither of the one of the centre backs might play against Wigan realistically, but I know that
Yeah.
like there's probably going to be rest coming, but I'd still want more, as much rest as possible. And you can always bring Saliba on if he has to come on a half, or like they can play a half each. But I agree. I don't mind who comes out of the team, Gabriel, Saliba. I kind of think Gabriel might need to come out of the team a bit more, but then I guess you could have the argument of like, well, he needs to play because he's also not playing brilliant, so he needs to get
Yeah.
like, I think on the ball he hasn't been great, so maybe this is a game you like make him better on the ball. I think Saliba's been really good recently, so
Yeah,
maybe
he's
you even give him a
fantastic.
rest. We'll take him. I don't mind, but Mascara, in my opinion, has to play in either of them. I don't mind which one.
I do think maybe that Wigan game you play Mascara and Hincapié as the centre back pairing, because we've seen that before. I quite like that centre back pairing. I think it's really good. So maybe that's the idea for that game. But yeah, I think for me, Mascara and Gabriel, just get Saliba some minutes rest. And then in midfield, Declan Rice plays. Do you take Zubamendi out though?
Yes.
Oh, really?
I've been tweeting about it all week. This guy needs to get out of the team, man. I'll make another video about him being dropped. Nah, it's not even that deep with him, but I've said it for 3 weeks now, or 4 weeks, or like I've said it for months. I've genuinely gone on about this so much that every single time that Zubamendi plays 2 games within 4-day period, he is so bad on the second game. And I don't think anyone's mentioned it. I always talk about it, no one really mentions it. He needs to be rested. Like, it's like, you think about the games that Zubamendi didn't need to play, and he's played like Wolves, like Inter, like he's played every Champions League game nearly. Like, he just doesn't need to. And the problem is, the only person that he was getting dropped for was Marino consistently, like kind of. And Marino's now injured, so I'm even more worried about Zubamendi's minutes. And it's not even that. It's like, against Chelsea, I think Zubamendi was really bad. And I don't know if it is down to the manager saying stuff. Maybe it is. But he has been bad when he's played twice in 4 days. He was awful against United, like genuinely awful. And that big reason why we lost. But then against Leeds, I think he was the best player on the pitch, pretty much. So it's like one of them things where it's like he just needs to get time out of their team. And if we didn't buy players, I'd be like, okay, a little bit more sympathetic to that. I get why Rice is playing. No one brings what Rice has in the team. I get it. Same maybe with Zubamendi. But Norgard is sitting there. He is a Premier League former captain. He has played 4 or 5 seasons in the Premier League at Brentford. You're telling me when we're 3-0 up against Leeds, or even 2-0 up against Leeds at half time, that Christian Norgard, who played for Brentford, cannot play against Leeds United for 45 minutes when we're 2-0 up. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't get it. He wasn't even on the bench for Leeds, and then Saka got injured and we brought him in. And I was like, he's still going to play him then, is he? Because he didn't have the idea. But I'm like, that's stuff that really frustrates me, because if Zubimendi gets injured, who's going to play there right now? What he'll do is he'll move Rice back to the 6. Then who plays in the 8? Well, Mourinho's injured. He'll probably just play Eze and Odegaard, and then he'll be like, oh, look, I can attack. That's what he'll do. That's probably what he'll do. It's so frustrating, because that is
He probably would, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
or Kai
I think that's what you would
Kai
do.
goes to the left, and no.
Kai, it'd be Kai
no.
and Odegaard, yeah. Like, the problem is like our midfielders are least depth position in our entire squad, basically. So we need to figure out ways to go about that. Mourinho is now injured. This is what I'm saying with this whole Wigan thing. It's like we're talking about, I'd say for Wigan, I'd probably have a defense of like maybe Ben White, Mascara, Hincapié, Miles. Then who's he going to play in midfield? Like Zubimendi and Rice should bring out. But then it's like, well, Mourinho's injured. Like Norgard will play. It'll be like Norgard. What? And then we're going to play Odegaard, Eze, Havertz. They're still starters. They're still big players. I guess you could play Odegaard in it if you. I don't think you will. I think he'll play Havertz and Eze, to be honest. If that's probably what he'd do there. But like, I'm looking at that and I'm still like, I want to preserve. I want to preserve Havertz's minutes as well, because he's just come back and we know how important he is if it's in midfield or up front. Like, he is a very important player in our squad, and we're like just throwing him in all the time to be like, come on, go and play. And I'm just like, the easiest solution to all of this is just play Norgard more. Norgard hasn't even played enough minutes or enough games so far to win the Premier League medal if we win the league. That's how little he's played. I just think this is a game where, okay, Sunderland are a very physical side. Sunderland are a decent side. Look, I'm not saying they're bad. I think they're certainly better at home than they are away. And I certainly think they've been a little lucky this season, but they deserve their luck. But they rely a lot on physicality. Granit Xhaka's not there. He's injured. He's not in the game, which makes it considerably easier to play against them. And I just think Norgard will be broadly fine. If we play Calafiori and Ben White, we'll have enough attacking presence, I think, down the wings, and especially with Calafiori just genuinely running around, that I'm not really too worried about certain things like progression and all this stuff. I think it'll be fine. And I just think Norgard needs to play more. So for me, like, I don't really mind Norgard, Rice, and then I don't mind if he wants. Odegaard's not fit. It doesn't look like Odegaard's going to be ready. So it'll be between Eze and Havertz. I don't mind who he wants to play. I would probably go for Eze, to be honest, because I saw Eze play well against Sunderland when we played him last time. But if you want to go Havertz and then Yok up front, fair. I'd probably go Eze, maybe Havertz up front. Nah, would I go Havertz up front? I mean, you could probably play Jesus. I think we'll go into that in a bit. We'll get too far. But like, if for the midfield, like, I just think Norgard has to start personally.
I think for this one, because you look at the run of games. So the next game would be Brentford. And if I'm playing Norgard, ironically, with him coming from Brentford, I prefer him playing against Sunderland than Brentford. And then you get an opportunity, because you play Norgard this game, you play Zubimendi the next game, you play Norgard again the next game against Wigan, and then I think really you could keep him in the team and give Zubimendi a rest against Wolves as well, so he gets a 2-game rest. Then you bring him in for the North London derby. And then we've got the Chelsea game after that. So that'd be interesting. Do you play him 2 games in a row? But I think you're going to have to. But with him having 2 games off, that should give him enough in the tank to kind of get through that. I don't know. It's really interesting, isn't it? Like his adaptation to the league has been very good. His adaptation to the schedule hasn't, if that makes sense. And that's the way I look at it for me. But 610 with another brilliant comment. Mate, keep them coming in. It worries me for next season with the World Cup. Zubimendi and Rice should go deep. Yeah, they probably will. They will be knackered for next season, and we could have a Rodri-type injury to one of them. Oh, good. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? We'd have to give them extra time off after the World Cup. And at that point, then you're looking going, well, who do we play? Because we've already got question marks around Norgard next season. Yeah. But that's something to start looking at.
Isn't it? Like, it's just bad management, in my opinion. Like, it is my biggest critique of Arteta, because I'm like, well, we got these players in for this reason. Like, I get you might not like Norgard because he doesn't do certain things, but at the end of the day, Zubimendi has been a liability in games that he's played consistently. It's not even about the fit. Like, there's two avenues, like the fitness that we need him to be okay, but it's also he just is not playing well. Like, it's not like he warrants being in the
Do you
squad
think
some
it's
of
like
these games.
a mental fatigue as well, where he's like,
Yeah,
he
it happens all
just,
the time.
I'm just not, I'm not there. Like switch
I'm
off
actually
for
seeing
a
it
minute or
so
two.
much with loads of teams. Like Newcastle, in the last two games I've watched them against Liverpool and City, like they've been pressing man to man. They do really good press and they go 1-on-1 and just sky it or like miss a one open goal. And I'm like, I like a Waltmart is actually a really, really good example of this, of like someone that has struggled with the schedule. At the start, he was loving it, playing every game, being brilliant.
Yeah,
Since like November, it's too many games. They have a break in Germany for a month.
yeah.
He's played about 10 games in that period here. And you can tell he just looks absolutely dead on his feet. He can't even compete in duels. I'm watching now. I think Kazanov for Man City beat him in a header, and I saw a lot of people talking about that. Kazanov is like 5'9" or 5'11" or something. He beat him in a header. He can't compete at that moment because he's just not got that physical capacity. And the thing is, I understand if you want to play Zubimendi like in these games. My biggest, like the biggest argument I have is that like we are games where we are winning or late on where things aren't working, not bringing Norgard on, in my opinion, is crazy. Like, I get that he knows a lot more and he doesn't trust Norgard to do certain things. I don't really care. Like, at the end of the day, you have to play him. He's there. Like, the Leeds one is
Otherwise,
my
why
biggest
bring him
gripe.
in?
Exactly.
Like,
And we're 3-0 up against Leeds with 20 minutes left. And I'm watching him do 4 subs, which were all attacking subs. I'm sitting there like, oh, bring Ben White on, bring Ben White on, no Ben White. Oh, bring a Norgard on, no Norgard. He brings Calafiori on for Hincapié to get him fitness. Fair enough, I guess. But like, come on, man. Like, these players are knackered. They need to be rested. Timber needs to be rested. You know, now we always complained that they couldn't be rested because they had no backups. Well, we have
yeah,
backups. They're sitting there and you're not playing them. Like, just stuff like that. It's like, it wouldn't surprise me if Zumeni gets a really bad injury. And Marino's just got a really bad injury, like in training. And he was such a vital component to the backup of our squad. And we've got to deal with that now. So, like, I don't think he will do it. He's going to start Zubimendi, Rice, and whatever, Havertz probably. That'll be his 3 starts. And then, I mean, it might be a game where you don't have to do as much running for Zubimendi and Rice, and you maybe don't need to do that many like incisive passes, so maybe they'll be fine. But that's not really the point. Like, it's not really
yeah.
the point. Like, we play next Thursday. Like, that's not that far. We need to. I mean, it's a big enough break that we get like five days, but just come on, guys. Just please, just no. Norgard is not even bad. He can kick a ball.
Yeah. I think like in terms of the game itself, like Zubimendi obviously suits the game more than Norgard, but I agree with you. I think you play Norgard, Declan Rice plays, and for me, I play Eze just for a little bit of guile. He got some pelters from people about the Chelsea performance, and I think partly he wasn't kind of on top of his game because they just crowded the central zones. They made it really difficult for him. And what he's very good at, he was always going to struggle with that. Bearing in mind as well, he's not really playing on the left-hand side as well a lot of the time. Like, he was going more central, which was quite nice. But I think for this game, it really makes sense playing him. And defensively, I thought he was great. It was funny though, because it looked like he struggled at the end. Like, he was done. You know, like, I'm done out here. Someone take me off. I need a break now. Martinelli, meanwhile, just kept going, just like Duracell. That guy,
Insane.
unbelievable. Did you see him when the goal went in? And Martinelli's like, everyone's celebrating, going across. Martinelli's leaning against the boards, like he's like, I can't make it. I need to just wait here for a second. Like
Right, his running was so like I remember I remembered in the game when I was watching it, I was like, okay, he's had a couple of good runs, Martinelli. I like some of the play he's done. but he didn't really stand out that much to me. And then when we got to the 90th minute, like I think there's like 2 moments where he just runs them down and gets the ball back for
Yeah.
us. Where he just ran down the keeper and the centre back and they kicked out. And I was like, that alone makes you want to keep him at the club. Like that is genuinely like insane. Like, and that's why they love him. I get it. And I watched it and that was a really good game. I thought Martinelli, like watching it back, actually did play well. And I do think he did some, he's a bit frustrating in front of goal. He always is. But I just think Martinelli this season has been broadly quite good. Like I think he's been I was so critical of him last season. I don't think he's been amazing this season, but I think we've done a better job at using him this season in the games that
Yes.
suit him a bit more. And I think that's why he just looks better. Like this was a game that did suit him and he looked better. It was a weird game to categorize because I think it was like they sat in a mid block, but then they did come at us at some points. So it helped Martinelli because he got that space, but then it also didn't help Eze because it was so crowded in the center.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get the sort of area. And it was such a more game for Odegaard. But it's so weird to like categorize because it was kind of like a in-between game of a lot of things. But I thought like when I was watching that game, I was like, I think Martinelli should as well be playing in the Prem at some level. I completely get not playing him against low blocks. I probably wouldn't risk playing tomorrow just because I'm worried if they do sit in a low block, like what we're going to see here.
I also worry about fitness. I just think he's fully exerted himself. Like and Trossard's more a player to be able to come into those interesting areas and like we've seen him do it. Was he in Sunderland before when he scored that absolute screamer? It wasn't it? So he is the right player to play anyway in this type of game, I feel. But
a lot of people have spoke about Trossard though. What do you think about his recent performances?
Average. I don't think they're like horrendous. I don't think, he's not knocking anyone over, but it just reminds me a little bit of old Trossard, where you're just going, oh, I know there's more there. Can you do more for us? But sometimes that's okay. As long as everyone else around him is performing, then it doesn't matter too much because you can't have everyone firing on all cylinders. We've just got to get through the games at this stage now. It's just about picking up points, making our way through. And
I also think when I talk about Trossard, I've said this a few times in some of my videos that like I don't think he's been brilliant, but I also think it's not like he's been bad. I think he's just been a bit quiet in games. But I also think that's because the left-hand side has been quite dysfunctional recently. Like Calafiori's come out of the team. Nkapie's in there. I don't think Nkapie is really brilliant going forward at the moment.
It was our best side for a short while.
Yeah, and I also think with some of the roles that we're doing, like against Leeds, Zubimendi was way more pushed up than Rice. Rice sat a lot deeper. Zubimendi went more in that right half channel, went up in the field, which meant the only real left-hand side presence we had was Trossard out wide, Nkapie, who wasn't good enough going forward. I remember there's a few times where we switched it to Trossard, he goes to pass it back and Nkapie is not there and he got annoyed. And then Havertz, who roamed a couple of times over there, but he wasn't like there permanently. And I think all of that stuff doesn't really help Trossard. I think he needs players more closer to him to really do anything, sort of thing. But I do think there's a level here where you do take Trossard out of the team eventually. Like I do think he doesn't warrant starting every Premier League game because he was good at some point. Like there is a nice part of this if like Martinelli is better for a certain game state, I'd rather than play them. But in my opinion, what I would do in this game, and I don't know if he will do it, but I think because Martinelli is kind of the right wing backup at the moment as well because of Saka's injury. Obviously, it's not a long injury, but right now for this game, he will be the backup for the right wing. Madueke will be playing his third game in a row, which might come crazy for him because he's not played any for like ages. I think that he should just play Eze in left wing. I just think he should play Havertz in midfield if Odegaard's injured and play left wing Eze. And I know it might never happen. We may never see it. And I think the reason for it is that the club might be trying to sign a winger in the future and they don't want to put him in left wing now and be stuck there or get good there. And then they're like, oh, wow, what are we going to do? Because I get that. They want to play in the midfield. Maybe he just plays like a Rice DM and then we just go for it. We go Havertz, Eze, midfield, Trossard, let's say Jesus up front because he hasn't played, so maybe they'll rotate him in, and then Madueke. Because when we played Sunderland last time, he did kind of go for it a bit, and he was like, I know Zubimendi would play and Rice playing that game, but he was super aggressive with how we played. I'm like, I feel like this is a game we could do that in. We saw it against West Ham, so maybe.
Yeah. Oh, mate. Like, because I was looking and I was thinking, you play Trossard out on the left, Havertz goes up top as that physical reference point, because we haven't had that. And we know Sunderland are so good physically. I mean, we've had an ex-Arsenal youth player, bag a goal against us and absolutely dominate in the box. I think Havertz is almost tailor-made for that. So I was looking at it and going, and plus, he almost deserves a start, regardless of where it is in the team. He deserves it because his performances since he's come back have been very good. Whether there's Champions League, League Cup, in the league, like he's been really good. He's shown what we've missed from Havertz, as much as that pains me to say. But yeah, I was going maybe bring Gyökeres out, give him a bit of a break, put Havertz up there, so then we can play up top. So in that respect, Eze has to play in the hole and as the 10. Madueke has to go on the right. Like that's not even a, what other choice do we have right now? Martinelli out on the right? Well, he's just played and run his socks off, so I don't think that's a good idea. And then it also just changes the whole dynamic and balance of it. And then we've already got Ben White probably starting at right back, which is another change of that pod. So then you're looking at, if we're different right back, different 10 instead of Odegaard, and then different right winger, I just don't think it makes sense. Just try and keep some consistency. It'll be interesting though, because Arteta, God knows what he's going to do. Like he might go wholesale changes. He might just go with the old faithful and Zubimendi and Reece are back in.
Yeah,
like,
I think that's more likely. Because the thing is, against Leeds, like we matched them physically at the start of the game with Gyökeres, Havertz. Like that really worked. And I said this on Twitter at the time. I was like, and then later on when the game opened up, it made more sense to bring an Odegaard. Maybe Calafiori's not fully fit, but it made more sense to bring an Eze and Odegaard on. We're way more fun. Maybe that's something that he goes for in this game, where he goes, well, they're going to be physical, very especially at the start more than anything. Although they're not going to come at us, I would imagine, not as much as Leeds did because they're at home. But they might be really physical. So and we played Mourinho up front when we played Sunderland last time. And obviously we don't have that. So, I mean, Gyökeres had a really good game against Leeds. So, like, I think he actually matched up really well against Leeds. So maybe you would go, well, he did that then. Can we risk him again? Although he has played a lot of football. Like, he played against Chelsea as well, even though that's kind of pointless. Like, and Jesus didn't come on. So maybe you just bring Jesus on. You start Jesus in this game. Or like what you said with I think Havertz would have started up front, but I think with Odegaard not being there, they might
change plans.
might not be like wanting to do that, because I would imagine Havertz starts in this game somewhere. I think it would start. I would just I kind of want Trossard to come out of the team and Eze to go in left, and Norgard come in for Zubimendi and Mascara come in,
which is what I'd suggest against Leeds. But I don't know. It's funny, isn't it? How you play 2 games and then suddenly you're completely adjusting how you would set up, which leads me nicely into this, actually, because 610 Vegas put, what's our best front 3 when everyone's fit? And then in brackets, and I think this context is really important, for a Champions League final. And so Xenia has put Martinelli with 12 goals and assists on 1,000 minutes is quite impressive. And there's a lot of players, when you look, because we've really shared all the goals, all the assists. Like, you look at our GA in all competitions. So Gyökeres and Trossard are both on 13 at the top. Then you got Saka on 12, Martinelli on 12, Declan Rice on 11, Mourinho 9, Zubimendi 8, Eze 8. Then even like Timber and Gabriel are on 7. So like everyone's so tightly, packed. There's no real outliers there. I mean, in a Champions League final, I think there's a non-debate. If everyone's fit, Saka has to play. That's a given. On the left, I think I'd go with Martinelli, because in a Champions League, he's just been so good. He's got the most goals and assists out of everyone. He's got 7 in the Champions League. So yeah, for me, Martinelli out on the left. Would you put Martinelli out there? Do you go Trossard? Do you bring an Eze?
It's
for a
so
final?
weird because like how I look at making team selections and squads is probably not like what a lot of, especially more old-fashioned people look at it like. Because
You go
I don't
on.
look at. I go on purely who we're playing against, basically,
Yeah,
or form, or these sort
I
of
knew you
things.
were
Like
going to say that.
it's the sort of feel of the moment. I don't even have to explain it sometimes, but sometimes in a moment when you play a team, you feel that this guy should play, and that's kind of how I would do
All right.
things
If we're not playing
and look at
Sunderland
things.
tomorrow, and we are playing Bayern Munich in a final, let's do that. It's tomorrow, so bearing in mind current form, and you know all the stats are the same, so the same amounts of goals and assists, etc. Minutes of the legs. Who are you playing tomorrow up top?
But the thing is,
Saka suddenly comes back fit. By the way, he's suddenly fit.
Saka obviously starts. The thing is, I would play Martinelli because it's Bayern, because that suits the style better. Like I think in some games, I do think that Trossard is better. Like I think for an instance, to put some perspective on it, if we were played an FA Cup final or even the Carabao Cup final, let's say, well maybe the Carabao Cup's different, but let's say we're playing the FA Cup final against like, I don't know, United, Chelsea, Tottenham. I would rather Trossard start than Martinelli, I think, and then bring Martinelli on. But if we're playing like an elite European side that I know are going to try their luck against us, like a Barca, Real Madrid, them sort of elite teams, I would probably play Martinelli because I think they will try their luck. They will get more space for him, and he's like good in them roles, and that's why I think he's so good in the Champions League.
Yeah,
I think that's an easier conversation to have. For the striker, I think Havertz broadly against better teams should start anyway. I think anyone above the top, anyone in the top 10 for in the Prem, he should start. And I think anyone
I
in
agree with
the
that.
Champions League, he should start as well. I think he's
That
elite
I'm
in
not
them
too
competitions.
sure about. Oh, because I think it depends. Again, it depends on opposition, which is such a fence-sitting statement, isn't it? But certain teams I have seen Havertz absolutely dominate. There's certain teams that I look at and go, I'd love to see Gyökeres against that back line. Like I wouldn't mind seeing Gyökeres against, say, Barcelona. I don't mind that.
That is insane to me. That is insane to me. I can't. I
don't. I genuinely don't. But I think really 9 times out of 10 you're going Havertz because he also lets you relieve pressure. Like if regardless of anything, you can count on Havertz of hassling defenders and holding the ball. Like you can play it long, you play it over the press, just give yourself something to set with. Whereas Gyökeres doesn't give that. And I think 9 times out of 10, last 10 minutes of game, if you like, we need a goal, you can play both. You bring Gyökeres in to stretch the pitch and you use Havertz as a backboard. It's not the perfect way of playing, but I think that's just a brilliant option to have.
I will say I personally don't think we win the Champions League or get anywhere near it without Havertz starting every game. I genuinely think that. I genuinely think Havertz is the perfect. I get from the perspective that Gyökeres is better in Europe than he is in the league, but I think that's just because he's awful in the league and he's like okay in Europe rather than him being good in Europe. Like that's kind of how I see it. Because even the games I think he has been good at, like he was good against Inter off the bench, but like I mean he was off the bench, like and like Jesus had already scored twice, and this guy can't even move anymore. Like I think about like Karat, he was good, but Karat are awful, and Havertz was still the best player on that pitch. So then I'm like, has Gyökeres actually been the best player in any of our games in the Champions League this year? No. Against Atleti, he was awful before. Well, he was okay. Like he was one of the better games, but he wasn't the best player on that pitch before he scored twice. He just scored 2 like tap-ins really from a yard out. And it's like, I think Gyökeres has his usages, and I think he's really dominant in Europe against teams that, like, say we play like a Olympiacos in the knockout round, then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that is a game I'd rather play Gyökeres for. But when you get to the quarterfinals, the semis, and the final of the Champions League, you're not going to play them teams. And I think I've actually spoke to a couple of people about this as well who aren't Arsenal fans, and they said to me that they were like, you're not winning the Europe at all without Havertz. I was like, yeah, we're not, because it's so much that he does, but physically, just straight up, he matches up well. The reason why we did so well, Marino up front, is because the guy is just strong, and he's a good aerial presence, so you could just kick the ball onto him. And that is so vital to teams that are going to press you very hard, like in Europe, that we have that. And we just don't with Gyökeres. Gyökeres is just not a reliable one-on-one dominator at the moment, like in that way. Like he did well against Leeds. He absolutely like was all over Strauch, and Strauch got nowhere near him. And I'm like, okay, that's good. But we haven't seen it against anyone who's actually like good, really.
No consistency in it.
Yeah, so it's like one of the things. I think there's always an effort of Gyökeres coming on late on and helping. I think the other way around, but I think Havertz calms things down. He makes things better. Is it going to give us the most attacking threat in the world? No, it won't. But I think it makes the team overly better, and it platforms our wingers. And a lot of the time, I think when Havertz wasn't in the box and stuff, I always thought like, well, his job is to platform the wingers, and if the wingers aren't doing anything, then that's on them to an extent.
Yeah.
And I do think that there is a problem that could still happen again, because I don't think our wingers generally this season have been brilliant without him, or like obviously I think they will be better with him, but will they be that much better? I don't know. It's about output, isn't it? And they don't really have that, so it's so weird. I think for me, like Champions League final, Havertz starts. I think if you're playing like lower down teams, then like Gyökeres can play them games. I don't think Jesus is going to start any of these games. He's more like the next one, but I mean, that's just that sort of thing, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, 6'10" saying Havertz pace and runs in behind a criminally underrated too. Like it's true. It is true. It does beg the question as well. If we got Alvarez in a big game like that, especially like maybe like maybe a Premier League game as well, because we know the physicality is different. Like, does he start over Havertz in those big 6 games? Like, that's an interesting question. Maybe that's one for next time. I do want to bring this up from Charles. So he says, what's going on with the comments? Sorry if you're listening. Did you observe our rotation versus, is that Man City? Does he mean Chelsea? Did you observe our rotation in the Carabao? Will it affect it? I can see us being leggy. Am I too wrong? I think he's saying, essentially, are we going to be too leggy? Do we need more rotation before the Carabao Cup, or, rotate in the Carabao Cup final? I mean, we kind of went through this earlier, but for me, I think you just play your strongest 11 there. And we've got, did I say Everton prior to it? I think it's Everton. Yeah. So Brighton, then Everton, then we play City. And I think
it's on its own week, isn't it? Or we play Everton in the week before.
Yeah, Everton's on the Sunday. It's 1 week before. It's on the Sunday, and then
because it was the Wolves game, and they moved the Wolves game to before the North London derby.
Yeah, because the Wolves game is way before now. It's on the 18th of February.
Yeah, so that makes sense. That's fine. We can. I will be.
And we're playing Bournemouth at home as well, which I feel that means that we can make those changes, and hopefully at that point we've got more points on City. So we're in a position where we can look and go, actually, do you know what? We can take a foot off the gas a little bit there in the league.
That's why this weekend is so important. I know, like, we've kind of like moved on from it, but like, obviously there's a big thing post-league happening tomorrow, isn't there? Like Arteta said, everyone get in your seats, everyone be ready. We play before City. City play Liverpool away. This is a really, really big chance where Man City drop points. Like, this is a big game. And they have dropped a lot of points recently, like the Tottenham game. I remember speaking to some Arsenal fans on the Saturday when I went out, and I was saying, like, I just don't trust Tottenham to do anything because of how they play. But I know that they're always good against City for some reason. I did think it's funny. This is the meme where it's like Thomas Frank when it comes to like making Arsenal happy, and it's just like absolute goat stuff. And it's like makes me laugh so much. I saw Mateus, obviously the Chelsea YouTuber, and he was just like, he watched it live and he was like, oh yeah, you know that Tottenham are just going to get thrashed by Arsenal now, Frank this twice. I was like, so funny, because I was like, it's so weird that they beat City away and then they've drawn to them at home. They've actually taken a lot of points off them.
Yeah.
So thank you. I mean, Thomas Frank is still an Arsenal supporter.
Yeah, we know he's gonna be there at the parade. He'll have a nice cup of coffee and an Arsenal mug. He'll be having a lovely time.
But 3 o'clock, guys. 3 o'clock. It's at 3 o'clock 2 weeks in a row. We are top of the country. I don't want to be mean here about the people that make the decisions, but can I watch my team play a football game? We are top of
Isn't
the
it
country.
mental? Yeah, top of the table, and you go, oh yeah, we'll put them at 3 o'clock, so
2
no
weeks
one
in a
can watch
row.
them.
2 weeks
It
in a
is
row.
madness.
I said to you last week that would benefit us against Leeds, though, didn't I? And I actually think Leeds looked worse. They literally just won 3-1 against Nottingham Forest because they were on TV late night Friday. When Saturday in the day, everyone plays worse because no one's watching. It's how it works.
Yeah, it's true, mate. Like I'm looking at City's fixtures because they've got Liverpool at 4:30 on Sunday. They got Man City, Fulham. They've got Salford City. Then they play Newcastle, so that's a big game. But then they got quite a fortunate run of games before the League Cup final because they've got Leeds away. That's a 5:30, so that'll be interesting. They got Forest at home, then West Ham, Crystal Palace, and then they play us. So expect them to be like relatively fresh. But regardless, I think in a cup final, though, regardless of what type of final it is, you're playing pretty much, bar maybe Kepa, that type of change. You're going to play 9-10 of like your best possible players. That will always be the case. And Pep being Pep will probably look at this going, this could be my last chance of a Wembley final because this cup has been his cup. So
he's lost the last 2 Wembley finals, hasn't he? He lost to Palace in the FA and then lost to United in the year before in the FA. So he's lost 2 finals in a row at Wembley. Oh, I guess some Carabaos. Oh no, some Community Shields might be in there. I can't really say.
Does that count? I don't know.
But it's interesting. Like, fitness-wise, like genuinely, we worry a lot about Arsenal's fitness, and of course we do because we've had so many injuries in the past. But Man City, I don't know if anyone's watched their games, but after the 50th minute in every single game, they look leggy. Every single one. They are so tired. They actually rested Haaland in the week, and I was like, oh my god, he actually knows how to rest Haaland. I can't believe it. He's done that twice. He's rested Haaland twice in the last 2 months, I think. It's insane. He's played so many minutes. I think he's played more minutes than any of our players.
And he's looked like a different player.
Yeah, he looked way better. But I think it's the same with Semenyo. Semenyo's played an insane amount of minutes as well. So I just think I talked to a lot of City guys and they're like, yeah, listen, we are playing way too much out there. Rodri is on his everything. They're not quite. Gay won't be there for the final. He won't be playing. So
can I just say that comment from Pep? I mean, why not make it 116 things you're doing? Like, why on earth are you even bringing that up? Like, it's a nonsense. No, he cannot play against Arsenal in the final. Like, you can't just keep buying your way out of stuff. I thought that was just idiocy at the end of the day.
I think the rules are stupid. Like, this is the problem when you have a systemic rule for 50 years, and then you're like randomly, yeah, we're gonna change it. Like obviously Semenyo can play because he joined before Newcastle. Obviously they knew that though. See, this is why you knew that you should have bought Gay earlier if that was the answer.
Yeah.
But I think Gay didn't want to join. You had to give him 300k a week to convince him. Well, I mean that's not our fault. I personally, as someone who's someone who doesn't care about faff, I've always thought that these sort of rules are stupid. I always thought who cares? I used to always think it, especially in Europe. I never really care about the Carabao, so I never really cared about this one. But yeah. I always thought for the Champions League, because didn't we have loads of problems when we signed Aubameyang about this stuff? It was something like if you come down from the Champions League to the Europa League, it was fine. But I think if you're a Europa League player, or Champions League, I can't remember the specific rules, and it was so complicated. And I just thought, who cares? Why can a player not play? And And Semenyo's going to now get a trophy if they beat us, and Gay's not. It's why? I don't really get why they do this.
The only difference, and I can kind of understand it, is that because he played against us, didn't he? So it's that kind of thing of well, we've already had to play against him. Why should we play against him personally? But
I get that. But Semenyo did get Semenyo got knocked out of it, and then he's still in it, and I get it. But it's just a part of if he's still helping them. I don't know. It's one of them weird them things where I just think it's.
But then at the same time, why have a January transfer window in that case? If you can't use the players,
it doesn't connect. Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because that's what I always thought back in the day. Like, they had January transfer windows, but it's like, oh yeah, you can't register in Europe because they're playing for Champions League. So it's like, oh yeah, so we're just buying in for the league games. I think that's pointless. I get it. I do think the anger from Arsenal fans is like, well, we bought Neto last year and he couldn't play, so you should have to deal with that, which is absolutely fair enough. Like, this is the problem with having a rule there for 50 years, 60 years, and they're changing it in an instance like that. Like, and that's the issue.
Awful transfer, wasn't it?
Yeah, at the time, I remember giving the benefit of the doubt to them, but then now, like, in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, like, that does make no sense, by the way.
No
Like,
joined
that's
up thinking
crazy.
that.
Have you seen, I do want to say something, last point on the day. We were talking about it earlier, but Hand of Arsenal has tweeted that Max Dowman has stepped up his training program and is expected to join the first team really soon. So I don't know what that means, but I'm assuming that he's going to be back in the next, like, week or so then. So we were talking about, we don't know when he's coming back. Well, that's convenient. There we are, I guess, soon.
Max Dowman to start the League Cup final. You've heard it here first. I mean, there's so much going on. Like, it's going to be great lead up to it, because regardless of what happens now, the narrative is going to be unreal for that final. It's just going to be nuts. Like, we could end up, well, the draw of the Champions League will probably come out with, like, who we're playing. And then we've got the FA Cup. Did City go out against Salford? Oh, could you imagine that in the 4th round? And there's so many things. Like, we could drop points, they might drop points, we might be neck and neck. There's just so many different narratives.
Both teams are going to drop so many points. Both teams are going to drop so many points. I can tell you that. I feel like everyone's going to lose.
And I think only because of the amount of games they've got to play. I think that's the biggest thing. Because on paper, like, especially for City, they look like they've got a favourable little run now. They've just played some really hard games. Now, ironically, after the League Cup final, they've got some kind of trickier ones, because they let me go to it. They've got Chelsea as well. So they play us in the final. They then play Chelsea. They then play us again at home. They've got Burnley, then Everton, Brentford, Bournemouth, and then their final game is Aston Villa. So that's a tasty little running after. Whereas we have got, let's have a look at us if I can bring it up here. We've got Bournemouth, then City, obviously. Newcastle at home. Fulham, West Ham, Burnley, Crystal Palace. Like, I prefer our running there than that.
Yeah, well, I think genuinely they've got a harder run. I mean, including the Anfield trip Sunday, I guess. It's just funny to me that, like, I remember, like, people weeks ago were talking about Villa. Villa were playing awful football and winning games, and now they're playing all right and they're losing. Oh, well, it's funny how things work, isn't it? It's funny. I said that it would all come around eventually. Yeah, it would come around eventually. You can't get lucky forever. No, sometimes it works the other way. So, whoop-de-doo. Oh, that's 2 home losses they've got in a row now. Oh, wow. They lost to Everton at home, and they lost to Brentford at 1-0. Wow. Also, by the way, they're in a title race. And they've got Leon Bailey and Tammy Abraham playing for them in 2026.
What is
that's
going
kind of
on
funny.
there?
It's so funny to me.
The whole. Oh my God. Because what is the points tally? As of right now, we're on 53, City on 47, and then Villa on 46. Man United on 41.
Yeah, United are going to come second.
How are those two?
United are good, man. I've been saying for a while, like, even before they beat us, whatever, they've been good, man, this season. I spoke to a friend the other day who doesn't really follow the Prem. He's like he's a Norwich fan, and he was like, I didn't realize United were doing so well. All the media says they're doing bad. And I was like, yeah, it's always like that. I was like, actually, this season they've been broadly quite good. Like, it's not obviously where they want to be as a club, but they've been fine. Like, they've been pretty good this year. I think they've got their attacks really good. Their attacks works better than ours sometimes.
Yeah.
But like, they did spend a lot of money on it, so it makes sense. So I don't know, like, yeah.
And
play.
plus, they're not in a position that we're in where we're like, you know what, we've just got to do what needs to be done at this point. It's not about free flowing football; it's about winning. I think that's
Chelsea game.
Pardon?
That was the Chelsea game, innit?
Yeah,
like, that's what
I think that's the theme of this season, isn't it? I think I know a lot of people will make a big thing out of this, and this kind of leads into you, Charles, because Charles said that let's talk about the elephant in the room. Our home crowd, they seem to be reactive more and more as games week progress. Nervous nervous, so clear. Arteta calls out support irrespective of game state. I mean, to be fair, the Arteta comments recently, he was asked about it and he kind of said, yeah, we just... And Arteta always embellishes, doesn't he? He can't just go, yeah, we need a good atmosphere. He has to be like, yeah, we've got to have the best atmosphere possible. The fans have got to come in red and white, like paint your faces, get flares, boys. Like he has to do that. He doesn't have a yes or no answer. But I think in terms of this season, some people are looking at it like a do or die type thing. I don't look at it as that extreme. However, you alluded to it earlier. If you're in the semi-final of a cup, you've got to win that cup. There's no excuses, regardless of what that cup is. All right. If it's the tin trophy from Bournemouth, you got to win it. If you're in the semis, you got to go for it. Like, it doesn't matter. And that's what this season for me kind of signifies that. And I think it is for a lot of those players. You mentioned Gabriel and Saliba earlier. For them to start cementing their legacy, because they probably are two, like, as a duo, they are up there with an Adams and Bold, an Adams and Keown, a Toure and Sol Campbell, who, may I add, I think per minute have conceded less goals than anyone else in Premier League history. They need more credit. They're right up there, but the only reason people won't ever really compare them right now is because they haven't won the league. They haven't won those big trophies. And for them themselves, they'll probably be looking at it again, have we made the right choice doing those contract extensions? And then you start asking those questions and having a breakup of a squad. So I think for me, it's crunch time now. We have to win it for those reasons. And people are gonna get worried at this point of the year. You know, I was 2 weeks ago. I'm going, oh my God, we're playing terrible football. What's happening? Are we starting? Like, are we going to bottle it? Is that actually happening? Of all the season, I've gone, no, it's fine. It's fine. We're going to be fine. We're just going to cruise there. We're going to be there or thereabouts. You have that nagging doubt in the back of your mind, especially, I think, some of the older heads who have seen us multiple times and have been waiting 20 years for this to happen. Over 20 years now, God. But that's going to happen. And I must say, when you're in the Emirates, I think the atmosphere's a lot better than people sometimes give it credit for. Online is like its own vacuum of hate at times. And like sometimes just to have a chat with just a normal person or have a chat with someone who's not an Arsenal fan and just go, like, honestly, without any bias, do you think they'll win the league? And I think most of them, 9 out of 10, they'll go, yeah, I think they will this season. And every once in a while, you have one person going, wow, they might not. City might catch them. But I don't think City have been that good, so maybe they won't. And I think that'll be the general
thing,
consensus.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the retrospect of it all. Like, I'm not particularly amazingly happy with how we've rotated or played in the loads of games, but no matter what happens, no matter what we do, it's all retrospect of just City. If City, who have their own problems, who aren't playing well, if they're just bad, then, like, at the end of the day, like, we're going to win the league, even if we do drop points in some of these games, like United, where we shouldn't have, even like your Forest, like. And that's the thing, like, we don't need to be the best team in the world. We just need to be the best right now. Or we don't even need to be the best. We just need to be the least worst. Something Alex says a lot, and I do agree. Like, you just got to be the least worst team in the league and you win. Like, and that's what it is. So many teams have mistakes. Like, you're so right when you talk about, like, the fitness. Like, we are playing every 3 days. We're playing teams like Brentford, Sunderland. They're having a week's break every week because they're not in any competition. So they have advantage on us. Even teams like United had that massive advantage on us because they're not in anything. So we are going to have games where we do play bad. There is going to be games where fatigue settles in and we aren't great. But it's just about winning. And that's why I was annoyed about the approach a little bit against Chelsea, but I get it. And that's the main thing. I don't care about the performance. If we win 1-0 every game and we play like that, I don't care. I know some people do, but this season I don't. Next season, we can have conversations about, like, playing good football, but this year it's just about winning. Like, that is the main thing.
And I think Arteta sees it that way. I genuinely do. And I think he's planning, especially with this Alvarez news, I have a feeling that is a plan of, okay, this season we're going to win it. I think he's confident of that with himself. And he's looking, going, okay, what's the next step? How do we go into another level? How do we do that? So it'll be interesting. Before we finish up, mate, I love this from 610 Vegas. We could play City 4 times in 3 weeks if we both win the Champions League, which is nuts. Like, that's crazy.
We'll get used to them.
Yeah, I mean, I always find it funny as well, because quite often the team that wins in the league often wins in the cup. Like, I'd like to see the stats of that, but from memory, it's usually like, I hate to say this, but the team who's doing the worst in the league usually goes on. But there we go. We'll wait and see, though. We'll wait and see. And at this point, if you want to compete on all 4 fronts, I don't think you can go full pelt. I think you have to manage games. You got to manage minutes. And maybe that's why, teams that have won trebles and stuff haven't had insane points records, because they've had to, spread those points across all the competitions.
You just got to grind to the result.
Mate, we got 2 hours 14 tonight, a longer one tonight, for those of you that had tears in your eyes when we stopped short last week. Wokkles, where can they find you, mate?
Wokkles Football, Wokkles Talks Football, on YouTube, and then there's also Twitter. I'm gonna be posting more on Twitter. I'm gonna be making like little posts. I kind of understand a little bit how Twitter works finally after like 7 years, so I kind of want to do one. I did a nice little post about mascara today. And it's done well, so if anyone wants to watch, look at that. So going into tomorrow, then I like it.
Mate, I'm going to sit and watch that tomorrow while I'm waiting for my son between football training sessions. And obviously, you can catch me here. I will also be on the Different Knock Plus for the instant reaction this weekend. So
already used to the new name. You're not saying Canon Podcast. See, I'd be like Canon Podcast.
No, there could be a change of name here, though. Maybe the FOKLZ Podcast becomes the Canon Podcast.
Well, we just take all the branding.
I mean, I've got all the thumbnails. It'll be easy. You can find me on Footy on X and on Instagram and TikTok. Please like and subscribe. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in on your Friday evenings. Remember, you guys know football.